Good morning. This is the Town of Hempstead Board of Appeals, June 25th, 2025, 9:30 a.m. meeting. Will everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Chairman, do you have any opening remarks?
Yes. So I see some new faces in the audience, people who have not been here before. So we'll go through how the hearings are conducted. First, we'll call any requests for adjournment so we can get those out of the way, and then we will get into the calendar in the order in which they appear in the notice. The hearings, the individual hearings are conducted as follows. The applicant will state their case. If there are any people who object to the application, they'll be given the opportunity to be heard. And finally, we allow the applicant or the applicant's representative to sum up. Once we close the hearings, we will not accept any additional evidence. However, before the closure of the hearings, we will accept almost anything reasonable. Texts, no text, emails, letters, petitions, because we are not a court of law, we're an administrative body, as a result of which we are not bound by the formal rules of evidence. We do have a court reporter. Everything is taken down. The hearings are archived. They are videotaped so that anyone who wishes to do so can refer to them in the future. I think that's about it. Patrick, do we have any requests for adjournment?
Mr. Chairman, we have one request for adjournment, case 34625, Woodmere, Mark Klein, also known as 45 Neptune Avenue.
Good morning. Two o'clock.
Is there anyone else here on that case? Thank you very much.
Welcome. See you later. This one.
Okay. First, we'll be calling case 33025, North Belmore, Alexander Niezdiela, life estate of Henry Niezdiela, renewal of grant to maintain two-family dwelling, also known as 2785 Oswego Street.
Is there anybody we can call? Okay.
My name's Henry Niezdiela. I live at 2785 Oswego Street, North Belmore, New York.
This is a renewal of a grant to maintain a two-family dwelling.
Correct.
The building department inspected the premises. We're not sure of the date. It was either May 30th, 2024 or May 30th of 2025. And they found that all the conditions previously imposed by the board are being complied with. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, sir.
Okay.
Can I just ask, I'm looking for the conditions here. Is one of your conditions that you live on the premises?
Yes,
And do you?
I do.
He said he did. Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, that the matter be placed on the decision calendar. You'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Have a nice
opposed?
day. Stay cool.
That's fine.
Next, we have case 33125, Uniondale, McDonald's Restaurant, renewal of grant to maintain one double-face illuminated ground sign, overall size 100 square feet, overall height 20 feet, also known as 1050 Front Street.
Anyone here on this case? Mark it second. Put that on second call, folks.
Next, we have case 33225, Wantaw, 7-Eleven Inc., number 18991, renewal of grant to maintain setbacks 1 feet from Beach Street and
Yeah.
1 foot from Park Avenue for one double-face illuminated ground sign, also known as 3382 Park Avenue.
Anyone here on this case? Mark it second. The signs are all on second call.
No, those are second calls.
Next, we have case 33325,
Oh, maybe not.
Oceanside, 7-Eleven Inc., number 34227, renewal of grant to maintain one double-faced illuminated detached ground sign, setback 5 feet from Long Beach Road and Cortlandt Avenue, and within the clear sight triangle, also known as 3274 Long Beach Road.
Anyone here on that sign case? A batting 1,000. Second call.
Every sign is a second call this morning.
Yeah.
Next, we have case 33425, Oceanside, Tripodi LLC, renewal of grant to maintain a lot area variance for a two-family dwelling, also known as 45 Mullen Place.
When was that inspected? That's a renewal. Dawn, can we have that file?
Michael Tripodi, 691 Forte Boulevard, Franklin Square, New York.
Yeah. When was it inspected? 4/25. Morning. So you're here on a renewal. You may be the only one who is here on a renewal, other than the first case. The building department inspected the premises on April 21st, 2025, and found that all conditions previously imposed by this board have been complied with. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, sir?
No.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Tripodi be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
All right, thank you very much.
Second, all in favor?
His condition.
Wait a minute.
Next, we have case 33525, West Hempstead, Andrew Kaufman and Lee Schaub. Variances, lot area occupied, side yards aggregate, maintains two-story additions, second-story additions, and roofed over open porch, additions and alterations in excess of 50%, new CO required, also known as 657 Colonnade Road.
Good morning. My name is Shmuel Flaum, residing at 194 Wanzer Avenue in New York, 11096.
Andrew Kaufman, 657 Colonnade, West Hempstead, New York, 11552.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Kaufman, who's sitting next to me, who's the homeowner seeking variances for work that was done to an existing single-family dwelling. The work that was done is triggering a variance to maintain certain items. Sorry, is this better? We're seeking to maintain specific variances related to an alteration addition to an existing single-family dwelling. I'm going to go through the items specifically, and then we'll elaborate if we need to. We're seeking variances for building area, where you're permitted to have 27.5%. We're seeking 30.24% for a total of 2173.33. Where you're typically permitted 27.5 for the house, we're seeking 30.24. And where you're permitted the accessory decking of 2.5%, we're only doing 1.9. So the total lot coverage we're seeking is 32.10%, where you're allowed a total of 30%. There is no other variances being sought, just there's existing non-complying conditions. Sorry. So they're not a new variance, it's an existing condition. The existing house already was non-compliant with the side yard, so the extension that we did. Correct. It doesn't go any closer than the existing house, so we're required to have a requirement of 16 feet, 3 inches. The existing setbacks aggregate-wise are 15 foot 2.5 inches, and we're proposing 15 foot 2.5 inches to keep the existing non-complying setback for the side yard. And the minimum requirements are 5 foot 5 on one and 10 foot 10 on the other. The existing was 9 foot 2.5 and 6 feet, and the proposer also 9 foot 2.5 and 6 feet. These are the only variances being sought in conjunction with this alteration addition that was completed at an existing single-family dwelling for Mr. Kaufman and his wife, who lived there with their family for about 5 years.
Mr. Flum, you're not, on my calendar, there's no request for the plain side yard, just the aggregate. So you're not here thinking you need side yard also, right?
No.
Perfect.
What,
How did this occur
Yeah.
to maintain?
Yeah.
I mean,
So it was an alteration addition that was filed regularly. In the construction, the layout wasn't working well for them, so they pushed out further. The client notified me, I told them they'd have to go for a maintain on the enlargement of the footprint, which was further to the back than the original approved plan.
Wait, they built it with a permit, but they
got-
just didn't comply with the requirements of the permit?
Correct.
seems to be,
Does the board have any other questions?
yeah, over there. Right. You know, I inspected this house, and quite frankly, Mr. Flem, it seems to be a pattern in that neighborhood that everybody's building these huge homes, and then they'll come before the board. I would suggest that, yeah, I would suggest we may look very differently upon these in the future. And you should make note of
So
that.
tell your people to stop building them, getting a permit for one thing, building the other, and then coming in, you know.
Yeah, wait.
vacation.
have you submitted to the
that a
buildings
window?
department the height survey or final survey?
Yes.
And it complies with the height
Everything complies.
requirement?
Yep.
I don't see stairs, so maybe.
Mr. Flem, I'm looking at the pictures of the rear of the property, and it looks like, is that a window well, or is that a set of stairs going to the basement?
At the rear,
Yes.
I believe it's a window well. The stairs are only at the side. Are you sure the side or the rear? I don't know what
I'm
photo.
looking, come up.
Oh,
Looks like stairs.
Is that the side?
That's the side. To me, that's the side, yes.
All right, well,
So that's stairs or a window?
That's a stair.
Okay, it's the stairs.
Yeah, it's just stairs.
What's in the basement anyway?
PR's
Storage and mechanical. You
right
can
there.
see it on the plan.
Thank you.
Yes, Miss Becky.
Stephanie, you can just let the record reflect that Mr. Flom has indicated that the photograph that the chairman was looking at was a photograph of the side,
not
which
the
was
rear.
in fact a staircase rather than a window well.
is that on the plan? Joe? Don't close. Is that on the plan?
Yeah. Also, let the record reflect, Stephanie, that Mr. Flom has indicated on behalf of the applicant that the basement is just storage and mechanical equipment, and there's nothing else down there of note.
Not too off. Oh,
Good. Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Flom, you and your client will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
thank you so much. Have a
Second.
great day.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have case 33625 near East Rockaway, Gerardo Curcio. Variances, lot area occupied, front yard average setback rear yard elevate and construct addition, stoops and stairs attaching two non-conforming one-family dwellings, also known as 16 and 18 James Street.
Go ahead. Did you already give your name and address?
No. Good morning. My name is Ashley Lowe Cunice from Mark Anthony Architects. Our office is located at 1563 Belmore Avenue in Belmore, New York. I am here today on behalf of our client, Mr. Gerardo Curcio, who is the owner and occupant of the property located at 16 and 18 James Street in East Rockaway, New York. This property is located in a Residence B zone and has a total lot size of 8,770 square feet.
Ms. Lowe, did this come before us before for subdivision, or no? Okay. There was one at the end like this, and they had like two houses, and anyway, go ahead.
No problem. We are here today as a result of an application filed with the town of Hempstead for two existing non-conforming single-family dwellings to be elevated as per FEMA regulations, as well as a proposed addition and proposed AC units.
I'm sorry to interrupt you again. So my calendar has elevate and construct addition. This looks to be existing addition to be maintained, and that's a 24 application. Is that before us or not?
No,
So there's no maintain before us?
no.
Okay, keep going.
Before I jump into the request, I do just want to go through a bit of history on the project. I do have in front of me two exhibits that I'm going to provide.
Two what?
Exhibits.
What are they, Ms. Lowe?
The first Exhibit A is from the Nassau County Department of Assessment, is dated November 16th, 1982, which states that the property record on file at the time indicates that the two dwellings were of an undetermined age in 1938, with dwelling A, or 16 James Street, being 16 feet by 39 feet, and dwelling B, or 18 James Street, being 12 feet by 35 feet. This document also states that there were additions added to each unit which needed to be legalized, which was not done at that time, but they have been since filed for by my office. Application number 24-8586 is to maintain the existing porch conversion to living space for Unit A, and application number 25-8587 is to maintain the rear addition for Unit B, which is 18 James Street. Neither of which of those applications are in front of us, but I did find it prudent that I explain the history of this property. Additionally, there is also Exhibit B, which is dated December 17th, 1982, which shows a building permit for two non-conforming dwellings, which was issued under building permit number 8202647. So these properties have existed as two separate dwellings with two separate addresses for nearly a century.
Ms. Lowe, what's the total square footage of the lot?
8,770 square feet.
And is it in a B or a C zone?
B.
Okay. And is this proposed to be a single-family dwelling at the end of this?
Both are separate single-family dwellings, yes.
Right, but they want to consolidate them, right? Connect them together or something?
So they are connected. They'll have a demising wall or a party wall in between them, but there is no connection.
So wait, they
leading from
still
one
want to
to the other.
maintain two separate dwellings, but they want to connect them to one another?
Yes, there's an addition being added to Unit A, which is 16 James Street.
Can I ask why?
Well,
That's a problem.
so there already is an enclosure there. Someone did it prior to my client's ownership in 2023.
So is that part of what application?
So The addition is part of this application. It's a proposed addition, and what is already there is being removed because it was not built correctly.
Okay, so,
What is the purpose of
Yes.
attaching two separate
and
single-family
keeping them
dwellings?
single-family dwelling.
Well, they want additional space for the smaller unit.
But why attach them?
Because technically they already are, so it's just being removed and then rebuilt correctly.
Hold on, Becky,
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What is the CO number for the two houses on the one lot?
this means it's a
What's the
multi-family
rationale?
dwelling,
It's
and it's in a B zone and 8,000 square feet.
Yeah,
It's
not 12.
202647.
So that building permit says built without a building permit, though. It says two dwellings and then construct addition with built without a building permit. Is that the CO? Is that a non-conforming? Is that a?
Yes, it's 2 non-conforming dwellings and marina, legalized addition without building
All
permit.
right, do you have a copy of the non-conforming decision? Because I can't.
I think we have it, is that one of the exhibits?
I don't know.
it's Department of Assessment. I
No.
don't think she has a non-conforming
Oh,
letter.
maybe Miss Ashley, Miss Lowe, can you talk in the microphone so she can hear it and we can hear it? So what was the answer there?
The building permit number I provided was 1982-202-647.
What
To
was the-
maintain,
What was the answer to the non-conforming letter?
it says to maintain 2 non-conforming dwellings and marina, legalized addition without building permits is what that's
There's
for.
a non-conforming letter?
She doesn't have a copy of it. I'm trying to see if.
No, I have a copy of the building permit, but I
Is
didn't,
that-
in the prior records that we
As far
pulled.
as you know, is that non-conforming letter, if we find it, does that relate to each of the dwellings or one of them?
All the documents that we were provided in our FOIL request related to both.
But do
Showed
we know do we have any idea whether or not, as to each dwelling separately, was a non-conforming letter issued as to both of them, one of them?
Take a look at
Do we know?
this. Take a look at that.
Both of them were issued as existing 2 non-conforming single-family dwellings.
So there's 2 letters,
Should be, yes.
but you haven't been able to get a copy of them?
No, the report in front of you is all that was provided by the assessor's office. And then the building permit that I provided was in
Becky,
the
do you want to
FOIL.
see this? Would this be of any help to you?
Correct
does
me if I'm
say-
wrong, should not have an application to the buildings department to apply for a non-conforming be done with the Department of Assessment backup to bring forward the application or review for a non-conforming?
Becky
Well,
found
the
some.
assessor's office has already done that in 1982.
Okay, I think if we wait a second, the materials you had handed in seem to be helpful to our expert here.
Okay.
Where's the piece? Ms. Lowe, while she's looking at that, you mentioned there's an,
The property was issued a non-conforming in 1982 to maintain 2 one-family dwellings on one single lot with a marina. The plan examiner at the time also issued a addition to one of the buildings, which did not have a building permit under that same permit. So it has a CO for 2 dwellings on one lot.
are you sure this didn't, we had in East Rockaway, a property come before us on an end like this.
Thank you,
With a marina and 2 houses, and they wanted a subdivision. It was like 4 years ago, 5 years. You remember that? No, we did. But this, you're certain this is, okay. So let me just ask you, as it relates to the darkened portion on the site plan, is that the piece that was constructed connecting them without the benefit of a permit?
Yes, so
So
that's the demising wall
that's
and it's fire rated.
Wait, is that the piece they want to take out?
So there's, the whole enclosure is there, but it was built incorrectly, so they're removing it and
But
rebuilding
it's that
it.
dark piece.
Yes.
Okay, that's what's going to be removed, and
That's what they want to then replace with a construct application before us.
Yes, and to raise the houses as well.
Elevate. I still don't get the connecting them. I get they want more space, but couldn't that be a foot shorter and they don't connect or something? I mean, Becky, if there's one structure with 2 residential units in it and a Res B on 8,000 square feet,
The connection of them, the use of the buildings is not the issue. It is a two-family regardless of it being separate as 2 ones or together as a 2. So it's still considered a two-family dwelling regardless of if they're connected or not.
so the connection has no impact on.
No, we're
Since
only
they're
here-
allowed to have 2 single families,
Correct. So the use is not of issue. It is only the area variances that are required.
okay.
The
Glad
use is
you're
not
here.
an issue because it was already
It was
deemed.
already a non-conforming we would consider it two-family regardless if it was connected or not connected.
And the fact that they're, so, it doesn't say they're doing over 50%. So that if they were, that would be what would destroy the non-conforming, right? But since they're not, it has no impact on the non-conforming that they're connecting them and elevating. It doesn't adversely.
We usually do not take nonconformity into consideration when they are complying with the requirements of the special flood hazard area.
Of the what?
The special flood hazard area, when they are compliant.
Okay,
we do
understood.
not- yes.
Since they're gonna bring it into compliance. Okay,
So-
go ahead, Ms. Lowe, give us your area variances.
What brings us to the board today is the proposed lot coverage of 33.27%, where the maximum allowed is 27.5% in this zone, for which we are requesting relief of 5.77%. The proposed stoop and steps labeled A and stoop and steps labeled B account for approximately 2.5% of the additional request for lot coverage, having 1.48% and 0.98% of coverage respectively. Additionally, the existing front yard setback is 2.3 feet, where an average front yard setback of 13.6 feet is required. We are requesting relief of 11.3 feet.
And that's not changing with this, or it is?
It
this-
is not. I would
Right,
like to
'cause
note,
it's-
the current existing setback is not proposed and will not be changing.
Okay.
Can I ask you, is there still a marina on the premises too?
It's not currently in use, no.
Is there, do they anticipate running a marina out of there?
Not
Does
to
it
my knowledge,
matter?
no.
Would we need to put a condition on the no marina, or is it fine if they just, is that
That is-
grandfathered in too?
That is up to the board. If they had a marina there, they would have to meet whatever plan was submitted to that 1982 certificate of occupancy permit.
Is there, so, Ms. Lowe, does your client anticipate reestablishing or reopening a marina there?
Not to my knowledge at this time, no.
Okay, so we can consider a condition. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go to
You
rear
need to do
yard.
rear yard.
Yes. As with the front yard setback, we are also requesting a rear yard setback, which is 18.5 feet, where 25 feet is required, for which we are requesting 6.45 feet of relief. This is an existing condition as well and is only non-compliant in a portion of the rear yard, as the property is in a regular shaped lot, and as a result, from the northeast corner of dwelling B or 18 James Street to the property line has a non-compliant rear setback. If you look on page A0 on the plot plan, you can see the setback goes from the rear corner right by stoop and steps labeled A, and then goes to the back.
Ms. Lowe, what is the, I understand that one section has been constructed without benefit of permit, but do you know what the lot area occupied is of the structure right now?
Which structure?
The
well,
two-
They're connected right now, right?
Yes,
So what is the current lot area occupied?
33.27%.
So that's really not changing, you're bringing
No.
this, okay. And then, also, does the owner of the premises live in either unit?
No.
So they're both rentals?
Yes. Well, I don't
Have you
believe
been-
anyone.
Have you been in both the structures?
I have.
And how many kitchens total did you find?
There's just one in each.
Okay.
Is there any, I suppose there's no basement, right, because it's,
No. It's a flood zone.
We have 2 letters in opposition. I don't know if you'd like to look at them and respond if you feel it appropriate.
might make sense.
Oh, they have to do with parking. Is there parking on the premises? They have. Is there any parking on the premises? Looks to be. It's not changing. They're
Yeah, that's, yeah, and then my other two
they're talking about parking. Letters in opposition. I don't feel it's not a. Yeah, they have to. Is the plans, the proposed plans, does
Got
it
it,
provide for parking underneath?
I just want to address, so it seems the first one that we received is in regard to parking. I know that there's not any issues in regard to parking in front of the board today, so that seems to be their only issue.
Wait, why is there no parking issue? You have sufficient parking on premises or what?
Yes.
How many spots on
Where?
premises?
There is an existing asphalt driveway that is also going to be raised, so they do have parking. It seems the concern is that
Wait,
there's a narrow
The
street.
driveway's gonna be raised,
Yes.
elevated?
How do you raise a driveway?
What, I don't understand.
How do you raise a driveway?
I believe the grade is going to be raised because it slopes down.
Toward the house, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, I
If
see.
you see, like, there's arrows on the plot
How
plan
many-
that shows that it slopes
Sorry,
down.
how many cars fit on that spot?
By the town standards, it should be 1 per house, based off what they can
No,
fit.
I'm asking, I see that asphalt driveway. How many cars do you imagine would fit on it?
So what I meant by the town standards is like what you're legally allowed per spot. I imagine they could probably get 3 in there, but legally 2, based off what you're supposed to have per car. But I imagine.
All right,
they
I
could
think
fit
you're
3.
right about the 3. But either way, is there anywhere else on the premises where there's parking? I mean, I don't see it, but I don't know if there's something that's not showing here.
No, just on the sidewalk.
And there's street parking?
Yes,
Any restrictions?
not to my knowledge, no.
Maybe just alternating or something? Okay.
But
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing, oh, wait. Did you want to respond to the other one?
no, they're both the
Same,
same in regard to
parking.
parking.
For the
Both
record, they're
parking.
both the same, related to parking. I move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Lowe, you'll receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's ready.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have cases 33725 through 33825, West Hempstead, Joseph and Mia Murphy, variance, side yards aggregate, construct a second-story addition with deck, landing, and stairs attached to dwelling, mother-daughter residence, second kitchen, also known as 349 Concord Ave.
Yeah. You do. It always happens.
My name is Craig Bandini. I am a professional engineer. I'm here on behalf of Joseph and Mia Murphy,
Second
who
floor.
reside at
There's only 3 of
349
them.
Concord Avenue
They're all-
in West Hempstead, New York. We are seeking a variance for a mother-daughter residence and also for a side yard aggregate zoning relief in order to install a set of exterior stairs on the dwelling to provide access to the second floor for Joseph and Mia's children, who will be occupying the mother-daughter second floor.
Did everyone, did you give your name?
Hi, Joseph Murphy, live at 349 Concord Avenue, West Hempstead.
Can you tap it first?
It's mother-daughter sheet.
Here, he's got a chair for you, sir, and then you can get closer to the mic.
Name is Joseph Murphy, 349 Concord Avenue, West Hempstead, New York, 11552. I'm the owner of the home.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Good morning.
Okay.
Randy Murphy, 349 Concord Avenue. I'm the son of the owner.
Okay. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. So my clients are seeking a mother-daughter permit for their home. Recently, we received a building permit to construct a second-floor addition to the home. The building permit was approved and the addition was built. Now we seek to we request a building permit for a mother-daughter use of the second floor.
Right, but your area variance is a side yard aggregate so that you can put in the stair, the stooping
Yes.
stairs, et cetera. So what are you supposed to have and what do you propose?
As far as aggregates,
Side yard aggregate.
the existing side yard aggregate right now is 17.49 feet between the two side yards. The proposed will be 11.9 feet, the reduction being the space occupied by the stairways.
And let's see, it's a staircase, it's a stairs and a deck,
Deck.
right? And a landing, nothing enclosed.
No, ma'am.
Okay, and if we were to approve this application, so we will deliberate on it, would your client accept the condition that it not ever be enclosed in the future?
Yes, that would be fine. We would never choose to enclose it.
Okay, great. And then, so go ahead and tell us about your mother-daughter request.
The mother-daughter request is that the Murphys have 3 children, all of which live home. Randy is one of them. They choose to keep their children in the house rather than moving off.
Rather than kick them out.
They don't have no plans on kicking them out soon. So they,
That gives you a permanent right to reside there.
And help with the groceries.
yes. So their 2 daughters, Corey and Jamie, would like to live upstairs in the new second floor addition that was built. Originally, the house was a cape, and it had 2 bedrooms, but they expanded with a second floor addition just recently. We received that permit, and the structure was built, and they did that so they could get a kitchen in there for the mother-daughter to increase the original cape dormer to a second floor full dormer. So Joseph and Mia's children, Corey and Jamie, will be living upstairs in the 2 bedrooms. They will be using the kitchen. The stairway is there because the parents, Joseph and Mia, just would like privacy of their own and give privacy to their children exiting the house. The stairway still has, the house still has an uninterrupted stairway upstairs with no doors. So that was a stipulation in the drawings that we put in.
Sir, let me just quickly, for the record, point out that when we have these kinds of applications, the Board of Architectural Review reviews them to determine whether or not the structure is suitable to be used as a mother-daughter residence and suitable to revert back
to a single-family residence at the cessation of the use. They often make recommendations such as doors be removed at the top and the bottom of stairs. I notice you mentioned an uninhibited flow between them, so you're already aware of that. And we give you an opportunity to tell us why such suggestions may not be feasible, either for safety reasons, pets, dogs, or cost prohibitive, etc. So just for the record, I want you to know that the Board of Architectural Review did review this case and determined that it is in fact suitable to be used as a two-family mother-daughter residence. I should say two-family mother-daughter residence. And it is also suitable to revert back to a single-family residence at the cessation of that use. It only pointed out one caveat, that there shall be no illegal occupancy in the basement. Probably already aware of that, but I just need to make you aware, so there's nothing that you need to say in
Yes.
terms of no conditions were proposed, so we don't have that issue, okay?
Have you,
Okay, thank you.
have you spoken to your client about the mother-daughter conditions? That 1 meter, one mailbox, and that it's, if granted, it is unique to them if they decide to sell the house, that mother-daughter variance would be not transferred to any new purchaser?
Yes, they understand that it's more or less temporary in nature, the mother-daughter privilege.
And
And it can be revoked upon selling the home or the children move out.
how many cars do your clients have?
Total of 5.
And I see on your plot plan that you've indicated room for 3 in the front. The other 2 are going to be parked on Concord Avenue. Is that it?
Yes.
Is there any restriction on parking on Concord Avenue?
I'm sorry?
Is there any restriction on parking on Concord Avenue? Okay. Anything else? Yeah. All right. Anything else you'd like to add?
You did plenty.
Can't say.
I think that's all.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Each of you who have signed in will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered. Thank you, folks. Have a nice
Thank
day.
you. Have a good day.
Thank you very
Second.
much.
All in favor?
Have a nice day.
Any opposed?
Next, we have case 33925, Seaford, Shangbing Hay. Variance front yard setback on Washington Avenue, maintain AC unit attached to dwelling, also known as 4008 Hudson Avenue.
Lisa Koshia with Permits or Us, 338 Jericho Turnpike, number 396, Syosset, New York, 11791. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board.
Good morning.
I'm here representing Mr. Bing He, who wishes to maintain an AC unit. This property is located in a Residence B zone. The AC unit has a front yard setback on Washington Avenue of 23.4 feet, where 25 feet is required. The AC unit had existed when my clients purchased the home a few years back. Mr. Bing He respectfully requests your approval.
I have one question about the photographs you've submitted. It looks like there's a moat around the house. A moat, M-O-A-T,
Moat? No. Why?
taken right after a rain. Looks
Okay.
like a moat.
No, no moat around the house.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision. Ms. Kachia, you'll be notified by mail the board's decision once it's...
Second,
Thank you.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have case 34025, Wantaw, 422 Wolf Hill LLC. Variances, front yard setback on White Birch Lane, rear yard, construct second-story addition attached dwelling, also known as 845 White Birch Lane.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Todd O'Connell, architect doing business at 1200 Veterans Highway, Hop Hog, New York. representing the Chen residents at 845 White Birch Lane.
Go ahead.
All right, well, thank you. So this is a fairly unique property. It's a corner parcel, which creates certain difficulties. Also, the existing house is set quite far back on the property. Almost whatever I do to this home would require a variance, but we are looking to build over the existing garage. The existing garage yields a 20.6 foot setback to White Birch Lane, and what they're considering a rear yard on the easternmost side of the property, which yields 7.4 feet. But we are going vertical over the existing garage. We're not encroaching any further. And again, it's a fairly unique parcel the way this house sits on the property.
Are a few of them like that in the area?
Yeah, it's just odd how they set the houses the way they did.
I think that really limits any kind of construction or improvement on it.
Yeah.
Mr. O'Connell, have you been in the house?
Yes, I have.
Is there only one kitchen?
Yes.
Oh, so we have a few email messages, at least one here,
That'd
that
be-
was sent in
Two-family.
opposed to the application. The comments are that, number one, the neighborhood's not zoned for two-family. Number two, the second story proposes variance, 1,681 square feet increase over the existing 1130. Three, additional occupancy will stress the school system. And then number four, something about the original house is already too close to the property line, et cetera. I read it to you to let you comment if you wish to.
I could comment. I can't even see how this home would yield itself to a two-family the way it's designed. It's a full second floor just for the family, and there's no kitchen in the house, so I'm not sure.
If the construction is done, the rear yard, I heard you say 20.6 to 7.4.
Correct,
And I
7.4.
realize, again, for the record, this proposal is not to go outside of the footprint of the existing
That
house.
is correct.
Okay, so what is the proposed rear yard and what are you required on the second level? I want it on the record.
On this, 7.4 is what's currently there. 25 feet is what would be required.
On the second level.
On the
You only had
second level.
a 15 required on the first level, right?
Up to 250 square foot of space, correct.
Okay.
So the rear yard's not changing, correct? Correct. But,
But also, it's kind of a side yard to the neighbor as well. It's just because it's a corner lot that they're designating it more of a rear yard. Because the other side yard is actually greater than the easternmost, so it's just strange the way they designated. Yeah, exactly.
They set the house on it in an odd way.
Yes, exactly. So, but yeah, again, I can't. This is a single-family home. There's no second kitchen in the house right now, and
What do you
this
say
is
right
just
now?
for the family. And
What do you say right now?
Yes.
Especially in light of the number of comments that are made in the emails, the right now is not really necessary. That there should not, to inform and impress upon your clients that apparently the neighbors are watching. So if a second kitchen goes in or more than one family occupies that house, I'm sure you'll have other interactions with the town of Hempstead.
Absolutely.
All right? Anything you'd like to add?
That'll conclude. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. O'Connell, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered.
Thank you very much.
Second, all
Have a
in
great
favor?
morning.
Aye.
And any opposed?
Next, we have case 34125, Uniondale, Lorna A. Simpson, and
Oh,
No.
no, this is next case. Hold on. Yeah. Make a motion to reopen. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I withdraw my motion to close the hearing, and I make a motion to reopen it so we can hear from the other interested parties.
Okay, second. All in
Aye.
favor? All right. Yes, come up, please.
Bench, please.
Okay. First person, Janice Imbrugno.
Hello, I'm Janice Imbrogno. I live at 1048 White Birch Lane in Wantaw. I've been a resident there for 30 years. First, I want to thank all of you for the service that you provide to our community, because I believe we are in a democracy and that we all have a fair voice to say our opinions. And I do believe that your job is to protect the nature of our neighborhoods, so that anybody just can't come and build things. Now, I walk around my neighborhood and ride my bicycle every day. I had sent in my email the original brochure. I know that, I'm gonna give you some specifics, but I know that change is always necessary, but drastic change is not. I do know that a flipper bought this house and told my neighbors he overpaid. I totally understand like there were some wonderful families here that said they want a mother-daughter, that, you know, I understand a family is residing in the house and they get pregnant with twins, we need to expand the second floor. But if I am wrong, correct me, but I believe a variance company owns this property. There is nobody residing in it, and I don't see the compelling reason before somebody owns the house. They're not a current resident. I believe the owner of the house does not intend to live there. There is potential for many bedrooms, and with, as you excellently stated, the neighbors are going to be all over this if they put in another kitchen. There's an egress window supposed to be in the basement, which, and the other thing is, we came
Whoa,
to the...
slow down.
Hold it.
Wait, you went to an egress window. Are you saying there's not one?
There is. There's a proposed one.
Okay.
Which makes just what you all said, a possibility of sneaking in a kitchen or another extra bedrooms.
That's always the case.
So, and I know how the town works, and we can't constitute what is a family. A family could be just, as long as there's one kitchen, if 10 people live there, that's fine with the town, because we can't determine what's a family. Now,
Yeah,
we went to the town, and I can't see how we can approve a variance without knowing how many bedrooms, how many kitchens, how many bathrooms. Like, we need to know what this house is all about before we welcome it into our neighborhood. In addition to that, I live in Wantaw. I have a strong Levittown identity, on the border of Levittown schools, and there's complaints all over social media about these McMansions being built. There are plenty of two-story homes in our neighborhood, and that's fine. They're done in proportion. They're done for a reason. A family needs them. But I don't see how someone who is not living there, to me, this if I'm correct, a variance company owns it. So somebody's trying to make money because they overpaid on a property, and now they want to flip it and make money at the expense of our community.
Hold on a sec. So you said that no one is living in the property right now?
That is correct.
We have a disclosure affidavit, Mr. O'Connell, that says your client is living there.
I can't respond to that as far as I knew, if not hers.
You've been in the house. Is anyone
Yes,
living there?
absolutely. I was there, I took measurements when it was vacant. I took
Is anyone
measurements.
occupying the home?
Not when I measured it, it wasn't occupied, no, because it was just purchased. It was brand new. And not brand new, but, just purchased.
Okay,
But it's purchased in the name of an entity, which there's nothing wrong with that.
no,
Correct.
okay.
And I have pictures from the other day of the house.
We
You can see
can't,
nobody lives in it.
unfortunately,
Unless they're printed,
we can't accept them.
Okay,
We look at them, we need them in the file.
okay.
That means we have to confiscate the
But I will
phone.
swear to you There is nobody living in that house, and there is nobody in that house
Okay.
for years, 10 years.
So, is there an actual basement? It's called foundation.
There is a full basement there. There is no exterior access to that full basement, and the only way to get into that basement is from the center of the house on the first floor.
I see. And it looks like there's a large laundry room down there and then another room divided up with closets.
Correct, and the only reason for the egress window is that that's a code requirement.
Go on, ma'am.
Okay, so again, I also wanted to ask you, because I did speak to one of the direct next door neighbors. She said she didn't receive a letter. Do you have receipts from the post office that every neighbor received the letter? Because I believe that one family didn't even receive the letter.
Let us look for the
We'll
affidavit.
look, yep.
I think the only receipts we get are for the 100 radius. Am I correct? We get
Right.
the 100 radius receipts,
I believe
but
the
the
Hume,
mailing goes to the 200.
yeah, could have been told wrong to me, but the Hume family told me they did not receive a letter.
Which family?
Hume, Hume, and they border the property.
Yeah, they border the property. This one. 883 Cool Ridge Road.
I actually live, White Birch Lane is a big loop, so I'm actually at the other end of White Birch Lane, so at least a half mile, right?
Do we get a return
Quarter mile,
receipt?
half mile? But this is my neighborhood.
it required?
You know, and I love
No,
it,
so-
and I appreciate it, and I appreciate what you do to maintain the character of our neighborhood.
Just to mail it, okay.
Again, this is not a family that is residing there that needs this for, like, we had so many beautiful stories of a family wanting to have their children there. This is a house vacant for 10 years that someone is trying to make money on. Increase parking,
That's an
increase
assumption.
garbage collection. The tax levy is not, I don't know how many children might end up there. The tax levy is not gonna cover the expense to the school district. It's a drain on the town of Hempstead, on our beautiful community. If it was done, again, by a resident who needed it for a family, and it was done in proportion, that is a total different story. This is a money market. To my observation, it looks like a variance company owns it, and they're building a big house. They paid a lot. They're gonna have to sell it for $1.5 million, so you know 4 people are not gonna live in it.
Well,
Because
just so you know, a lot of the issues you brought up about the strain on the services, and a lot of those issues we're not really, are outside of our jurisdiction in terms of what we're allowed to consider.
Okay.
Some of your remarks are very helpful, and we will certainly factor that into our deliberations.
And with respect to your comment about the Humes, we have a certificate that the mailing was made by certified mail. Whether or not they accept it is not the responsibility of the applicant. The mailing was made pursuant to law.
We have the certificate itself.
We have it
And
here.
an affidavit.
Right, but you didn't get it back from them, so
We
maybe
don't
No,
have
we
a
don't,
way of knowing.
there's no
It went out
requirement that
certified.
we
Right, so you
receive
would
it
have got
back.
that green slip back.
We don't get them back.
We don't get them back.
Because the obligation under the law is to mail
Yeah,
it certified
certified.
to the 100-foot radius.
Okay.
And
Okay.
the 200-foot non-certified.
Okay,
So-
I'm just sharing my belief. I can't speak for another person. And I'll just say one other comment. I've spoken to many neighbors on White Birch. Again, I'm walking, I'm riding. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to come up and say how they feel, because everyone I spoke to on White Birch had the same feeling that I do. And I just feel that throughout my wonderful education here, I've learned about how our town, our county, our state work. But a lot of people don't have the confidence to come up and speak and to know how the system works, and they just, what are we gonna do? But I can tell you from all the neighbors that I spoke to on our lovely White Birch Lane, nobody is in favor of this. We wanna support families that need to do, not builders and people who are trying to make money building
What would you
would call
suggest that they do
Oh, I
To-
have a great suggestion.
To correct this abandoned house that's been that way for 10 years.
Sell it to a nice family, any family that would like to live there and join our neighborhood and enjoy the house. And
But
if
maybe
they,
that's what they have in mind.
That's what they're planning.
Regardless of the fact that right now an entity seems to own it, and I believe you when you say it's empty, but maybe that's the goal, like improve it enough that a family's gonna want it.
well, let a family, but you have to build it so big. And then somebody's gonna have to pay for that so big house. Let the person who's gonna reside there, like simulate into, be a member of our neighborhood and let
Yeah,
them
but
decide.
We can't socially,
No, but you're putting a
manage
business over the, not you, but that's putting a business interest. It's definitely a moneymaker. They overpaid.
but there's nothing wrong with making profit on a house.
At the expense of the rest of the people and the
Well,
height?
First, we don't know. He's not here for a height variance.
Okay,
So,
okay.
I understand I would feel the same in my neighborhood. But then our limitations are, people have a right to buy property, improve it, and make a profit. People within reason have a right to build them larger. In this case, he needs a rear yard setback. That's the only variance he needs. And
Front
again, I would feel as you do, but again, we can't say, oh, we don't like the people you're gonna sell it to, or we don't like that you're making an expensive house to sell it to someone with too many people. We appreciate the risk potentially in any house. The larger it is with, certain configurations, there's more of a risk that someone could use it improperly later. Like, not this person necessarily, but they sell it to someone who goes, wow, I could fit 2 families in here, let me throw a kitchen in. We get it. But we can't deny an application because someone's gonna make more profit.
And
Because
that is why we said earlier, the neighbors are the people who are going to keep an eye on this. And if you feel with justification that more than one family is living there, or there's more than one kitchen there, you see the contractors coming in and putting another kitchen in, you have the right to lodge a complaint, right? And by the way, the people who are maybe uncomfortable to come here, that's why we accept emails. That's why we accept letters. That's why we accept all that evidence.
Thank you.
Okay?
Okay, I also want to correct, they said they're not going to do anything on the back, but on the plans, they are extending the back patio, and they're also putting up a fence. The house, as you are aware, is diagonal, so it's going to be very close to the edge of Coleridge Street.
Apparently, those 2 items are within the as-of-right conditions in the ordinance, so that's why we are unaware of them, because they don't have to come to us for those.
Okay, and just lastly, can I just ask, why can't we know the interior plans before you approve the exterior and then make people feel more comfortable?
You can. They should have been on
They-
file
they're on
for 30
file.
days prior to this hearing.
We were told at the town of Hempstead that the variance has to be approved first before we can see how many.
No.
No.
Can
not
I
true.
ask how many bedrooms are proposed?
I don't know who told you that.
Hold on.
I could respond.
4?
Yeah,
Go
4
ahead.
bedrooms on the second floor.
How many bedrooms?
Well, there's a bedroom on the first floor, too.
Well, yes, on the first,
Okay,
yes.
so 5
1,
bedrooms,
2,
So it's, and we have 3 bathrooms.
3 bed, so,
5 bedrooms.
and
3
3
baths.
baths. That
No,
just
no.
indicates to
There's
me a
4
lot of.
bathrooms and 5 bedrooms, because the first floor,
With the first floor, I was talking about on the second floor.
okay, but total,
Yeah.
I think she meant total.
Okay.
Total.
5 bedrooms, 4
4
bathrooms.
beds.
And a,
For the proportion of the house, that's a lot. That is a lot. Now,
and there's a
please-
basement with a laundry room and a rec room.
Please hear me. It just doesn't seem right. I live in one of these ranches, and I don't have an upstairs, but to put 4 bathrooms
Again, that's an
total?
area where we're not allowed to say we don't want you to have 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, but,
No, but the premise is that the premise is if you're going to build big and have that many of those rooms, it's still one family, But again, we can't constitute what is a family.
Right, but, and
A lot
this
of
is a
people,
bedroom
a
and
lot of people.
This is a guest room in the bottom, bedroom, bathroom, that's what it says it is? Okay, most people do like to have a guest room if they can. Some people use it as a gym, an office, but a guest room for when people visit. And then there's 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms upstairs. So to be honest, a family with 3 kids, these days everyone wants their own bedroom. I mean, that's from my view anyway, from what I've seen over the last 20 years here. But
But a family
it's not
that-
really an appropriate inquiry for us to opine that this person shouldn't be able to have that many bedrooms and bathrooms, and this one should, and, you know.
Absolutely,
It's
but
just
it would-
outside the purview of.
Absolutely, but if there was a family there that had that need, it would be understandable. I still maintain that this is somebody making money at the expense of our community. The owner is not requesting this. So all I could do is ask your consideration. You're here serving us, you're protecting our communities, and I could only plead with you, something doesn't seem right. I would never come to you if my neighbor wanted to do this. This is a business opportunity at our expense, and I just don't, I genuinely think it's not right. It just doesn't seem, there's something wrong. Everything you said is right, but there's a lot of bedrooms, a lot of bathrooms, a company owns it. It's gonna be one of these McMansions that's all over Levittown.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could just respond that.
Go ahead.
On the second floor, as I designed this, the bathrooms on the second floor consist of an actual master suite. And there's another, because this is for a specific family they're looking to put into this home. And they wanted an ensuite for their daughter, and then another bathroom on the second floor just to serve the extra 2 bedrooms. Correct.
Is the builder under contract? Is your client under
It's
contract
all
to
in the-
sell it?
No, because it's in the family.
Oh, it's their own family.
Yes,
So
He
they do
correct.
have
intends
a
to
family
reside
they
there.
plan on having live here.
That is correct.
I
Yep.
believe it was
And,
owned by the variance
And
company.
also, as far as the size of the home, this is well under what we would be allowed to build. We're only occupying 23% of the land, where,
27 and a half,
realistically, I could go to 27 and a half. So we're well under, what this house could be.
All right, thank you,
The house
ma'am.
is on a diagonal, so it does make a difference. Can I clarify, the records I looked up was that a variance company owns this house?
I don't know whether it's a variance company. Many people today place their residences in limited liability companies. We don't have any, we don't have any control over that.
The
And
company
they
I
can-
looked up does a lot of business, flipping
Okay,
houses.
okay.
It's not
But
a family.
This gentleman represented that the principals of that company intend to move in with their own family.
Can I ask if they flip other houses?
That is really not germane to the issue, because a flipper, by definition, is going to sell it to someone, a family, hopefully, certainly something this size. All right?
Right,
Thank you.
thank you.
What's the name? Hernandez?
Henderson?
Yeah,
You
either
can't read the
one. We
writing.
can't read the writing. Yeah.
How about?
Does anyone else here wish to speak on this case?
Pardon?
Okay,
Oh,
set it
okay,
up.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Any other comments from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Each of you signed in will also receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered. If you wish to look at the plans, you can certainly go down to the zoning board. Probably they're only up here, right? I don't think we have another,
Set.
can we do you wish to look at the plans? Okay, so,
Give
stay
it
there.
stay
Can we
there.
let them, we need this back because it's our official exhibit, but you're free to look at them
Take
if
a
you
leak-
wish and just
take
give
a
them
look.
back when you're done.
Okay. We closed it.
Aye.
All in favor? All right.
I put it over there so that I can.
Steph, are you
You're done,
okay?
Mr. O'Connor.
You're all right? Okay. Yep.
Next, we have case 34125, Uniondale, Lorna A. Simpson and Marsha A.E. Simpson, now known as Marsha A.E. Williams. Immediate family residence, second kitchen, also known as 1339 Commodore Road.
This is the new file.
Marsha Williams, 1339 Commodore Road, Uniondale, New York.
Lorna Simpson, 1339 Commodore Road, Uniondale, New York.
Okay.
Good morning. Again, my name is Ashley Locunis from Mark Anthony Architects. Our office is located at 1563 Belmore Avenue in Belmore, New York. I am here today with our clients, Ms. Marsha Williams and Ms. Lorna Simpson, who are the owners and occupants of the subject property located at 1339 Commodore Road in Uniondale, New York.
Good morning to all.
Good morning. We are here today as a result of an application filed with the Building Department under number 23-80 for a proposed immediate family use. In the primary unit will be Lorna Simpson, who is one of the owners, as I previously stated, and her son Cameron Simpson, age 10. In the secondary unit will be Marsha Williams, who is the other owner and sister to Lorna, along with her husband Joseph Williams and daughter Kennedy Williams, age 7. I have made my clients aware of the stipulations for an immediate family use, that there can only be the one mailbox, one electric meter, and one doorbell, and they have also been made aware of the fact that they will have to renew the application every 3 years. I would also like to note that this application was filed with an application for a proposed addition, which did not need board approval. There are also open permits for a fence and a shed that were filed as well, and all of these items will be closed out once all construction has been completed.
How many cars do your clients have?
3.
While we're doing that, let me just put the BAR on the record.
yeah,
I heard earlier, Board of Architecture reviews each of these plans to determine whether or not the residence is suitable to be used in this fashion and suitable to revert back. Single-family dwelling at the cessation of the use. Sometimes they make recommendations, which we give you an opportunity to explain why they may or may not be feasible, too expensive, safety, kids, animals. In your case, they made no recommendations, but found that your house is in fact suitable to be used this way and suitable to revert back to a single-family dwelling at the cessation of the use.
So it appears that you have a parking pad that enables you to park at least 2 cars in front of the house?
Yes.
Are there any restrictions to on-street parking in front of the home?
No.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. You'll all be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's rendered. Have a nice day,
Second.
folks.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Next, we have case 34225, Wantaw, Marvin, and Gwenda Berg. Variances, lot area occupied, side yards aggregate, maintain wood deck attached dwelling, also known as 3397 Beltaw Ave. Ms. Kashia, I have you sworn in from earlier, just your name and address again for the record.
Sure. Lisa Koshia with Permits R Us, 338 Jericho Turnpike, number 396, Syosset, New York, 11791. Good morning again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm here representing Mr. Berg, who wishes to maintain a deck attached to the dwelling. This property is located in a Residence A zone. The deck has a side yard aggregate of 13.79 feet, where 15 feet is required, and lot coverage of 27.9%, where 27.5% is required. This deck has existed for over 25 years. Mr. Berg respectfully requests your approval. Yes.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Ms. Kuchia, you'll be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's ready.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Thank you,
opposed?
have a good day.
You too.
Next, we have case 34325, Elmont Blanca Keen, mother-daughter residence, second kitchen, also known as 115 through 97 Parkway Drive.
My name is Blanca King, and I live in 11597 Parkway Drive, Elmont.
Melanie Casal, and I live in 11597 Parkway Drive, Elmont. No. It's just me and my mom. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so, let's see. The only variance you seek today is to have this mother-daughter residence. I'll just go over the Board of Architecture quickly to make the record. As you heard before, the Board of Architecture reviews each application of this sort, determine if it's suitable to use this way, and revert back at the cessation of the use to a single-family residence. In your case, they make no recommendations to remove walls or et cetera, or doors, but they do note that there shall be no illegal occupancy in the basement. What is in the basement?
Nothing, it's not finished.
Is there a bathroom?
No.
Okay. Is it divided up at all? Like
No.
into rooms? It's just a big open space?
Yes, for now.
Okay. You understand that as a condition, should this board be inclined to grant the application, that this would be unique to you. We only allow, you'd have to have all the appearances of a one-family dwelling, one electric meter, one mailbox. How long ago did you buy the house?
How long did I
How long ago did you purchase the home?
in 2019.
You have some open building permits, one of which involves a chain link fence, and the second one is to construct a second floor addition that has not been closed out yet.
Did
Do
you
you-
put a second floor addition on it?
I don't think they did. I think it was done before their purchase.
Well, when I bought it and we did a new home completely.
Oh, you did?
You tore down the old house?
Yes. But I mean, in the same base.
Is there a CO?
You understand?
Footprint, but
Yeah, but it's totally a brand new.
Becky,
Becky,
so she said that when she bought it, they tore it down and rebuilt the house on the existing footprint. She's got the CO, I take it, you looked it up, I know.
Okay.
2.5 story probably, midpoint, the main eaves are below the mid, even though there's a dormer. What's in the upstairs, in the top story?
Say it again, please.
In the highest story, I guess it could be called the third story, but what's up there in that attic area?
It's just an attic, like a big.
Is that like a drop-down staircase or a regular staircase?
A regular staircase.
No bedrooms up there or
No.
bathrooms?
No, no. Her attic space does not have a drop-down staircase. The attic space is a scuttle, so there is no stair to the, third floor where
It's
you...
a what?
The third floor where you're seeing those windows, that's not a third floor. The height is basically only 5 feet. And it's a scuttle from the proposed family room next to the...
What does the scuttle mean?
A pull-down. It's a
Oh, but
pull-down.
she says she has a regular staircase.
It's not. She's getting confused with the second floor.
How do you get to the attic?
Oh, we have
close it.
like a stairs.
Do you pull them from the ceiling, or are they already always there?
Oh, they are already.
Always there?
Yeah.
Okay, we might need to,
You have so when you go all the way up to the top floor,
Foreclosure. They bought
Yeah.
it at a
okay?
foreclosure.
Do you have a permanent stair, or do you have to pull something down to get to it? The
No.
top- Here.
she said it's permanent, she said it 3 times, that it's always there.
She bought it for about 450,000.
She what?
She bought it for about 450.
You can tell by just looking at that.
Sure. Divided by 4.
I have like a
Transfer tax.
Oh, that's the two.
stairs.
That's the state transfer tax.
Yeah.
That's not showing on your plan.
Oh.
Oh, she might have to figure that out at some point in the future, but it's not really before us.
Yeah, I will take care of that.
Okay. Okay.
What you paid. You bought this at a foreclosure sale, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah.
From the bank.
Smart.
Did a nice job. How many cars do you have? 2?
2.
And where do you park them?
Where do I park?
Where do you park them? You
In the
park them on the
garage.
property?
In my garage.
You're the first person I've heard of who parks a car in their garage.
Mine's too
Everyone
messy to
else
begin with.
uses it as storage, okay.
I
So
mean, I
wh-
have no regulations and also in the size and in the front of my house.
Right.
Not,
So you're going to keep it 1 doorbell, 1 meter, 1 mailbox, correct? And you understand that if you sell the house, that this is not transferable if it's granted?
I'm not planning to sell.
Okay, yeah, well, you just bought it. Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. You ladies will both receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered, okay?
Second,
Have a nice day.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? What time is it? It's now 11 o'clock. All right, time for a break. Need a break? Okay, all right. So it's 11:03, and we're going to take a 12-minute break. We'll be back at 11:15,
We have
folks.
to let the court reporter rest her hands temporarily.
This is your point lookout. Did you look at this one?
Next, we have case 34425, Point Lookout. John Keeley, variances, lot area occupied, front yard average setback, side yards aggregate, rear yard construct two-story addition, second-story addition with roof deck and wood deck, all attached dwelling, also known as 55 Hewlett Avenue.
Mhm.
Hi, my name is Joseph Brennan, 368 Lakeview Avenue, Rockville Center, New York, and I'm the architect on the project.
John Keeley, 55 Hewlett Avenue, the occupant.
So you gotta speak louder than that.
John Keeley, 55 Hewlett Avenue, occupant.
She's gotta take it down and we gotta hear it. We have a lot of people interrupting.
Excellent. Well, thank you for having us today. We're applying for a partial second floor addition with a rooftop deck all over an existing footprint of a house. There are some additional elements like an elevator and a front yard stoop that are outside of the bounds of the existing footprint of the house, but those are all of the constructed vertical elements are part of the existing house. And instead of tearing down the existing house and building something new, we're trying to preserve as much of it as we possibly can. The goal is to make this a FEMA compliant house, so we're gonna fill in the crawl space, we're gonna take all the mechanicals and raise those up above the design flood elevation. We have 4 open applications on this. 3 of those are related to maintaining construction that was done well prior to my client John purchasing the house. So he's been in there since 2017. There's a maintain for sandy repairs, there's a maintain for an awning and a rear yard addition, and there was no C of O on the house as well, so we filed a maintain to get a C of O on the house. So 3 out of the 4 are for things that are just related to the maintain. In terms of variances we're seeking, we don't need a height variance. For the front yard, we're seeking permitted is 5.8, the existing is 5 feet. We're asking for 0.9 feet to build an uncovered stoop in the front. I also wanted to mention that John's longtime partner is disabled and she has a hard time getting up and down stairs. So the stoop in the front is to try to make as gradual of a step up to the front as possible, and the elevator is also so that she can access the second floor and the rooftop.
So
Sure.
the stoop in the front,
Yes.
this is the one that will go out to reduce it to 0.9.
Yes. So,
It's construct.
I'm not seeing what the 0.9 is.
on the plot plan, in the very front,
Oh, this is 3D.
yeah. So maybe if you have,
Oh, where the tree box is.
yes, exactly.
Okay, so now I see it on the, looking at the 3D,
Yeah.
is, that goes, you can go in there, and then is that a ramp up or stairs?
It's a very gradual stair, yeah. So we're turning so we can we wouldn't be able to get a low rise if we just came straight down the front, so we needed to turn so we can get 6 steps going up. So the steps are only about 4 inches each rather than like a typical 7-foot stair. And also the stair in the house itself is designed to try to accommodate that. As John's partner progresses her condition, it's gonna be harder and harder for her to get up the stairs. So the elevator is also being put in there to help for future potential.
Is the elevator accessible? Is there a garage in the house or no?
There is no garage, no. And so some of the other variances, the side yard variance, again, that's maintaining an existing condition. We're not changing any on that. So the one we need is, permitted is 5, existing is 3.9, we're proposing 3.9. The aggregate is allowable 15, existing is 11.3. Again, we're not asking for any relief on that. The rear yard is also allowable 15, existing is 1.8, and again, we're not asking for relief on that either.
Well, no, you are asking for it.
Yeah.
You're not changing.
Sorry, yes, okay. Yeah, we're not changing from the existing non-conforming
Right, but the rear
condition.
yard's 15 on the
25 on the second story then? So 15 on the first,
25 on
In
the
either
second.
case, you want 1.8, and that's what it currently is.
Yes, okay, yeah. And then the last thing is that for the building area, allowable is 27.5%. The existing is 47.9%. We're asking for 60.3, and that's related to the deck and the elevator
What
and the stoop.
percentage of that is decking?
I would say 11% of that,
Meaning
or
it's
10%.
Can you give us the exact number?
I'd have to do a quick,
If it was 11 and you're at 60.3 now, you're not asking for any additional. If it's 11.
Right now, they're at 47.9.
47.9, yeah. It's typical point lookout overbuilt.
Yeah.
Small lot, yeah. I
Right,
mean,
but 60 is even high in
Yeah.
point lookout, to be honest. I'd
Okay.
choke at 50
okay,
in point lookout, but
Okay.
I realize. So, we're gonna need the actual number at some point.
for the deck.
For the deck.
For our deliberations, for the percentage of this that's decking.
Okay.
And then we would also ask if we were to agree to this, approve this case after
Yeah.
deliberating, would your client, and as for yourself, sir, agree that to a condition that is under the covenants of that property, that none of the open decking and stairs ever be enclosed?
Yeah, that would be
Because
the,
when we approve something as an open space,
gotta
it
remain
would
that.
change the nature of it a fair amount if you enclosed it all, like it's an even bigger of an obstruction, right?
yeah,
Okay, so before you leave, give us that number, so we can have an
sure,
deliberation.
okay.
And then this entire deck above so I see two parapet things sort of going up, one,
Yeah.
I assume one of those is the elevator?
Yes, yeah, on the right-hand side, on the north side in the rear is the elevator shaft. On the left-hand side, that's the stair, and the stair is being constructed over an existing footprint of the house. So we're going up with that, but we're not adding to the footprint of what's currently
The
there.
elevator's the smaller of the two, right?
Yes, yes,
And then the other is the staircase.
yes. Yeah. So I think that, again, what we've done to set that up is basically the existing house is 5 feet off the property line. We're not changing the front. We're not changing that face. That face is staying exactly where it is. We've done about a 3-foot stair and then accounting for another 6 inches or so of just for a railing and, the side of it. So to get a code compliant, like 3-foot wide stair for, again, trying to just make it as accessible as possible for John's partner, I think we could reduce it a little bit if we look at the railing detail, but I wouldn't want to make it any less than 3 feet because, yeah. So the driveway is currently on the left-hand side of the house. It's going to stay there. There is a driveway easement that John's neighbor and him share the same driveway. So that's another dimension I can get you specifically, but so here's the existing house. We're not going, the first floor is remaining where it is. It's already above base flood elevation. So they were submitted and uploaded for the application. We have an extra copy if it's helpful. Okay. John did, yes. Those are a couple years old, but there hasn't been any improvements since then. Yeah. We started this application in, I think, 2022, and then it was put on hold. So these were done then. But you can see, basically the condition that you have in the front right now is gonna remain the height. We're not changing the height of the first floor. Yeah. Yes. Yes. I would say, I think that's probably about 2.5 feet. You think so? Because I think, if I look at the front elevation, yeah. 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 Yeah.
But I still have the entire sidewalk.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But it is. We'd also be happy to put an open railing there to make that, to increase visibility. That's not a problem. And I also, I grew up down the street from this house, so and my children, we bike past there, so I know what it's like, yes. Yeah. So I think we would be more than happy to make an open railing in the front to make that visibility as open as needed. Yeah. Yes. 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 Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, just in closing, the hope here was to, John's plans on living in this house. Okay, sure. Yes, okay, that sounds good.
Actually, whoever wants to
Speak.
testify or speak on this case, if you could all stand at the same time, so you
And
just be
swear them
sworn
in.
at all together. Joking. Yeah, and you can all queue here on the bench. You'll speak from the podium.
You know. Okay. Who's going to speak first?
And it's much harder to hear up here than it would seem. So if you can speak as loudly as you can, so she can take it down and we can
without
Track.
screening.
I sent this letter in with pictures earlier.
We have it, we have it.
You have this letter.
We do.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Loud, please.
My name is Elizabeth Connors. I live at 56 Glenwood Avenue in Point Lookout.
You're gonna have to speak loud. I mean, I barely heard you.
We have the letter.
My name is Elizabeth Connors. I live at 56 Glenwood Avenue in Point Lookout.
Okay, tell us what you would like us to know about this application.
Well, I sent a letter in with pictures. I dropped them
How
off.
did you send it? By mail?
I brought it in on Monday morning,
So,
dropped it
paper.
off.
Okay.
Let us locate it, if you want us to, follow along, I take it, so you can point out, it's shown in photographs. Was it folded in an envelope, or it was always straight?
It was in an envelope addressed to the Board of Appeals.
Was it folded? It just helps me identify.
No,
Okay,
no,
so
it was straight.
Yes, yeah.
Got it.
proceed, and if you want us to reference any of this as you go, just identify it for us.
Okay. My husband and I are the residents at 56 Glenwood Avenue, and we have several concerns. The primary concern is the addition of the stairwell.
Is what?
The addition of the stairwell going up to the second floor. As best as I know, that extension on the back of the house is not legal. It was never, it just was there, but.
Wait. So, you're saying the existing stairwell wasn't built with the benefit of a permit?
No. The structure that they're planning to put the second story on in the back of the house for the stairwell, the internal stairwell. I'm assuming he's applied for a variance for that because it was never legal,
Okay.
best to my knowledge.
You're telling us that there's an existing part of the house that you don't believe is currently legal?
Exactly.
Okay, so, can one of you speak to that?
Yes, absolutely. That's part of one of our maintains.
What are your what?
One of the maintain applications that we've submitted. There's a, it's sort of a shed now that has been,
Hold on.
yeah.
From what I can tell, the items before us, there aren't any maintains before us. Is that something that you're getting a permit as of right and you don't need relief for?
So we have four applications right now.
Yeah, construct a second story, construct two-story, construct a roof deck with a wood deck.
Yes, and then there's, so we have, in addition to that, we have the C of O non-conforming permit application. They're all on the plot plan. Sandy repair application, and then finally, there's a maintain, there was an aluminum awning that was installed in the front, and then there's a rear addition that had been built, that's been there.
But none of the maintain items are before this board today. Now, that may be because you applied for permits and
Yeah.
they don't need relief. Becky, can we check it?
Part of his construction project is on portion of the property
Right.
they're discussing.
But
Yes.
that's not before us.
No, because it's not gonna be there anymore. He's building on top of that item that needs legalization.
Something has to be under it.
Right, so he's legalizing the whole thing by he's renovating it. So,
Okay, just because we don't have the maintain here, I just want to make sure.
right, it's part of the project.
Yes, and that's the, if you look at the photos, that is so here on the driveway side.
Speak to the mic, please.
Sorry, so on this one photo, on the driveway side,
Hold on, let us find it. Okay.
so this is that object, this is that thing that was built.
Hold on, driveway side. Okay, so you're referring to this stucco piece that's below the DirecTV antenna?
Exactly, and then flip the page, you can see it from the other side. That's the, yeah, so that's the structure being referred to.
Other side.
It's a non-issue.
Okay, so, I'm sure you heard him, so apparently as part of this application, they seek to legalize the section to which you refer. So, keep going.
Now, if the second story is put on that section that's being legalized, there's a stairwell that's going to go inside that structure.
Right.
And
Keep that here.
part of one of their applications is to extend that structure 7 feet. And that will,
Which direction?
7 feet towards my house.
Towards it. I don't think there's 7 feet there.
Hold on. Okay, so it would be considered their rear yard, right? That's what you're referring to.
It would encroach on my property. If
On
you-
your what?
On my property.
Well,
Where's the platform?
so the
Pictures.
extension that you're talking about of 7 feet would be an extension in terms of their property, it's considered their rear yard. And I presume it also would, you're saying it would affect your rear yard.
Well, yeah, the garages or the structures.
Okay.
I have pictures there of that.
Okay, tell us, keep telling
Number
us.
2.
Okay, picture number 1 is taken from my kitchen window. And number 2 shows a different angle.
Wait,
but
you just speak a little louder, please?
Picture number 1 is taken from our kitchen window. Number 2 shows a different angle, which clearly shows how close the structures are. Now, if they,
Hold on, so the structure in here with the sunroof, what do you call those?
Skylight.
Thank you. The skylight, that's the subject property?
that's his.
Okay, and the orange roofing material, is that your? Okay, keep
Yes.
going.
Could,
Yes.
all right, let me interject something here. The proposal is to extend that piece under the direct TV antenna
Yes.
back another 7 feet?
No.
I didn't think so. Is
No.
it going back any closer to this lady's house?
No, we're using the exact same.
I didn't
setback.
think so.
All right,
Sorry,
You
we're using-
understand that, ma'am?
We're using the exact same setback. Currently,
Okay.
it's 1.8 feet from Mr. Keeley's property line. We're not pushing it back any
Okay,
further than that.
okay.
Yeah.
So
well,
that's not going to encroach on your property, and if it did, we couldn't approve it, okay? It's not the structure is not going to be built any closer to your property line.
but it's going to go up
It is,
to a
that's
second
correct.
story.
You gotta
which will-
speak closer to the mic, please.
It's going to go up
Correct.
as a second story, which will place it right in my kitchen window.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
Now, I also feel that having the structure that close to my house is a fire hazard.
Is that close to a
I mean,
house,
you
huh?
couldn't get any fire equipment back there if you needed to.
How far off your property line is the back of your garage, do you know?
No, she wouldn't know. How she gonna know that?
1 foot 8 inches. 1 foot 8 inches.
So-
That,
so
your,
1.8
that's,
1.8 and 1.8. You're right,
3.6.
there wouldn't be room for any fire equipment.
Our other concern is the mechanical equipment that's going to be hung on the other side of the house.
Wait, the mechanical equipment is proposed to be,
It's going to be hung on the north side of the house.
okay?
north side.
We don't, it just says mechanical equipment. We don't know what kind of equipment it is.
Hold on. So it will be on the north side of his house, is that correct? That's what
Yes, condensers for ductless air conditioning system, yes.
Generator?
No.
Okay. So it's the AC condensers. How
Okay.
many?
Two,
Two.
yeah.
Okay, but then
They encroach
that
inside.
alley is 3.9.
The alleyway on that side of
On
his
that
house?
side of
On
the
the north
house.
side.
And when they hang the equipment, it will reduce part of that alleyway to 2.4.
The alley, you're referring to the alleyway portion that's on his land. And then I see there's the Sweetland family over there on that side too. Okay, so keep going, I mean,
Okay,
we
again,
understand your.
we consider that a fire hazard as well.
Okay.
What is it?
No.
So yes, the mechanical equipment will be mounted off the ground. And I believe that's permitted encroachment. So it's 3.9 currently. I mean, just where that mechanical equipment is, it'll be 2.4, but we can also put those higher than, we could also put those higher than where somebody would be able to walk and get through. Those are usually mounted up on the side of it. Yes, yeah.
Okay? We also can't find where the cesspools are going to be placed. Yeah.
There's an existing one in the rear yard. And we'll have an access from the deck down into that
And that will
for
continue
clean
to
out.
be it. And also, just so you're aware, we don't really deal with cesspools here, but in the building department, that is part of engineering. Who deals with that? Oh, county does. So that will be considered and inspected and required to meet certain, whatever the laws are as it relates to that. I know in Point Lookout, it's a bit of an issue because there's some issues about the septic being, the whole system there being at max capacity, so.
Well, it's the original cesspool. It's the original cesspool in the backyard, and they're adding bathrooms and, it's.
So the county will deal with that. Did you already apply to the county, or?
We're not changing that. We don't need to unless we have, I think, over 4 bedrooms. It doesn't trigger an
Okay.
enlargement required to the septic system. And right now, it's currently a 3-bedroom house, and we're keeping it as a 3-bedroom house.
Okay.
So usually that's determined by number of bedrooms. We're not increasing the number of bedrooms in the house.
Name and address, just so she has it in the transcript.
All right.
No, go ahead. No, come on. Just say your name and address first.
All right, I'm Jerome Connors, the husband. And the big question is, on the cesspools, and Joe would probably know, you have to have access to pump them. Because if they need to be pumped out, how are they gonna get down the driveway into the backyard?
How do you do, now,
Because otherwise,
whoa, one at a time.
yeah, but otherwise, like we did, we cut off the backyard cesspools and put them in the driveway. And so they have more,
Access.
yeah, and there are more cesspools available, so that they, with the addition of the rooms and the bathrooms, then they would be able to handle it, But the backyard cesspools, I don't think, could really handle, the amount of.
The county.
Well, the maintenance aspect is certainly a good point. Right now, how does, Mr. Keeley, I guess, how is your cesspool maintenance handled, given its location?
They literally run a hose.
In the mic.
They run the hose down the side of the house, which they'll do the exact same thing. It won't be any issue.
Yeah.
I see.
So it's, as I mentioned, I grew up the street. We have the same thing there. It's common in Point Lookout. These trucks pull up. They have big, long hoses. They're 60, 70 feet long. They run them to the back of the house. There's an access panel on top. They lift it up, and they suck it out. Yeah.
All right, well, I think the question more was that there's going to be a deck added to the backyard, so.
The deck in the backyard?
Yeah.
And we can just put an access hatch in the deck. So there's just a hatch. You pick the hatch up off the deck. You can lower it down. There's another hatch that goes on top of the
Oh,
cess.
you meant the deck precluding the access? Okay, I thought you were on the,
Yeah. So, yeah, that's just access hatches. Yeah.
Am I allowed to ask about asbestos?
You're allowed to ask about it, but that's taken care of by the building department.
Okay.
If
Because
there's
it is an old-
asbestos in the house, they'll have to remove it properly.
And they
Or-
will test before they take the top off to,
I
We'll
assume,
do
because they don't
whatever-
want it
Yeah.
either.
Whatever is required to get a building permit,
Yeah.
we'll do.
Right.
I don't understand how that applies to a zoning hearing, though.
It does.
doesn't matter, but she's here, and she wanted to ask.
Okay.
And frankly, someone would be a fool not to
Again,
test before they,
you know, the rules of evidence, the strict rules of evidence don't apply here,
Okay.
right?
Got it.
May not be germane to the issue, but we give people freedom,
Understood.
limited, but freedom nevertheless.
Understood.
okay. Well, I did have some questions to Mr. Brennan, and I left a message, but he never called me back.
some questions for who?
Mr. Brennan,
Okay.
I called his office, left a message, but he never called me back, so
Okay.
some of the stuff.
Maybe you can ask him after the hearing.
Yeah, would you please stay around and
Yeah.
exchange contact information maybe, and answer whatever questions you can?
Sure.
You can also look at, have you seen the plans for the house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have
Okay.
those too.
Oh, good.
Wait, the whole plans are, okay,
We have everything.
Okay.
okay. Just
All right.
wanted to make sure.
Okay, but we're not experts, so
No,
that's
but I just
why-
wanted to let you look at them if you hadn't seen
Oh, no,
them
no,
yet.
we have copies.
All right, fine.
Again, we're not experts. We're not experts, so
Right.
that's why I sought Joe's
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
counsel. No. All right, I guess that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Collins is?
Did you have anything further to ask, sir? Is it Collins or Connor?
No, Collins is up next. These are the Connors.
Oh, I just met Desiree.
Hi, my name is Barbara Collins, and I live at 54 Glenwood Avenue, which is behind and to the north of the property that's applying for
Right,
variances.
next door to the other folks,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not an architect or an engineer, and when my husband came over and brought the plans home, and to be honest with you, I had no idea about anything on those plans. I couldn't understand them.
Okay.
Liz and Jerry and I were talking. She said she put a call into the architect, and he didn't return the call, so we didn't really get to, be able to discuss the plans and realize what the impact would be on all the
Understood.
property. At any rate, the main thing that stuck out to me when I looked at the plans was the construction of the rooftop deck.
Okay.
I believe that would infringe on our privacy. You know, it's not a property that's, he's building a lot of house on a small plot. He's building a rooftop
People down
deck.
there do.
It's not like we're waterfront or you're gonna have any view of anything in the area other than your neighbors and our yard, and my daughter's bedroom. So that's my main concern.
Okay.
After hearing this, I'm also concerned about the mechanical items on the side of the house. I understand it's central air.
Two air compressors.
Yeah. And do they make noise, or none of our neighbors?
They do.
You know, my daughter is there any way to put them in a different place? Because that's gonna serve as like an echo chamber
They're
there.
often in Point Lookout. A lot of them are on the north side of the house for some very obvious reasons. What we've done in the past is ask the applicant to take certain steps to contain the sound, like they put baffling around them, maybe like fencing and baffling, which usually helps to reduce the disruption of it. But where I live, it's the same thing. Like if I'm outside, I can hear the AC units of my neighbors. But would your client agree to a condition
Yeah.
that it be properly, do what you can with baffling, et cetera,
Yeah.
to reduce the spread of the noise created by, are they,
Absolutely, and I think we could move them closer away from the rear. We could move them closer to the front of the house, so they're not as close to your property as well.
Yeah,
great.
because
Okay,
you
great.
can imagine that between the two houses, that's just gonna be like, you
yeah.
know, reverberating.
And move them forward and baffle, or whatever they call those, baffle ready.
Yeah,
Also, are they ductless or are they,
they're gonna be ductless.
so those are usually quieter than the regular ones?
They're not
I know
the-
because I have one of those and 4 of the others.
Yeah, they're not the big massive ones that are like 3.5 by 3.5 feet.
Right.
They're about 18 inches deep by 3 feet wide.
Yeah, that'll be helpful, but still, he'll move them forward, baffle them if approved. And it's good to know that they're at least the ductless, because I have the big ones and one little ductless, and it is much quieter, for what it's worth.
Okay, my other concern is I don't know our neighbor at all. I don't know anything about him. But the construction of a rooftop deck can also mean noise and, I don't know, parties and things like that. It's quite a large deck, and it is right on our property line. So that is another concern for me as far as noise pollution and a privacy
White deck.
issue. So that's, you know,
Well, hopefully, I guess did you just move to the area?
Been there 8 years.
Oh, okay, so
well,
hopefully.
we've been there 54 years.
Okay, so he's a newbie in that regard, I guess, because it's a tight-knit group down there. So hopefully you'll have a rapport and you can work together. If you have concerns, you'll be responsive, I hope.
So is there any possibility to reduce the size of that rooftop deck? Move it more towards the front, and so that the view is not of my backyard and my daughter's bedroom?
Well, there's at least the elevator bulkheads will somewhat block some view. There's no way to tell sitting here.
I mean, I think-
Maybe if
And
you
the
put a
the staircase would
higher
also-
sidewall on that side?
I think privacy screens, so I also want to just add,
Pardon?
I honestly did not realize that you called me. I fully apologize, because I think I would have been more than happy to meet. I know the Connors' children, and so I think that I'm happy to kind of sit, talk about these things, show you more
Privacy
detailed
screening.
design. Privacy screen, like, I think that in the past, when we've had situations like this, especially in Point Lookout, where the houses are so close to each other, there's concerns about the property line is close and your window looks directly into my
Yeah,
window.
we get it a lot.
It's an easy fix. We just have to move a window. We just have to put up a privacy screen. Like, these are the sort of things that I think that we're happy to work with, because we do want to make sure that, we're
I
making
think
the
that's a good
neighbors-
fix.
Yes.
Like some kind of trellisy thing or something, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So there's moving the AC unit forward, privacy screening, and baffling on the AC.
Yeah.
So before you leave, can you make sure that you give us the proposal for the forward movement, like where it would be located, so we can consider that in our deliberations?
Sure.
So that we know what we're actually deliberating about.
Okay.
And just one more question about the elevator. Does that also make noise? I don't have any experience with an elevator.
I have one, and mine doesn't make any exterior noise.
Okay.
All the equipment is inside the house that drive it. And again, it's a small residential elevator. It's not like a big commercial elevator you would see in a building. And I also they get used very infrequently.
Right.
The point of this is only for, Mr. Killy doesn't intend to have his guests using this to get up to the roof. It's really only for his partner to be able to get up there.
I had the same with my in-laws.
Yeah.
It's rarely used, but it's useful when, in those situations.
All right, so hopefully we'll, be good neighbors. I don't know,
Yes,
but
I hope. And you stay after, and you guys can go out there and chat.
We said that.
my
yeah.
daughter sleeps in the bedroom closest to that property, and she hears the birds chirping in the morning, everything. So that's my concern. We might even have to move her bedroom to another location. I don't know. We'll see how the noise level is.
Okay,
Okay.
anyone else?
I'm Dennis Collins' wife.
Right?
Question, Mr. Chairman, you asked before parking, how many cars could park? Has that question been asked? You mentioned the fact that they share a driveway.
I didn't. Mrs. D'Amato did, but how many cars do you have?
How many do you usually put? Can you get 2 cars there? Yeah, 2.
You park 2 cars in the driveway now, as can be seen from the photographs.
Yes, yeah.
So-
I'm guessing that a neighbor, the sharing is just it's wider, so that side's the neighbor and this side's you, or no?
Yeah. No, they only have however they built the house, they don't have a full driveway. It's a half of my driveway, they don't park anything there.
When that house was
You
built,
you have a,
Yeah, but they don't have
That's
they don't have
common.
a driveway.
when that house was built, you had the same garage,
Before my time.
and they shared.
I got you.
And now on the
Is the garage-
north side of the construction area, you have John Sweetland's house.
Right, I saw
He's
that.
on the other side. When you move the machinery,
Can you speak a little louder?
when you move the machinery, you're moving that to the north side of the property. So you're cutting Mr. Sweetland's property off.
he's not here to object to that, and secondly, they're gonna elevate it so that it doesn't interfere, correct?
Yes.
How high will it be off the ground?
We can put it as, we can put it up so there's an 8-foot clearance underneath it that you can walk through there. We have to put it up, I think, at least 3 or 4 feet anyway for FEMA.
Yeah.
So adding another few feet on that is not.
Well, and
I also have a good relationship with my neighbor, Mr. Sweetland, who knows everything about construction and has no issues.
okay.
Now, on the building construction, is the third floor deck, is that considered a third floor?
No.
It's not a deck,
Well, it's a deck. I just
but
wanted
it's
to-
not a third floor.
It's
not
a
a
second-story addition with a roof deck over top. Would you call that a third story since it's on top of second?
Is a third floor, but not a third story.
Third floor deck.
It's a third floor
deck.
deck, not a story.
Okay.
Right.
And I don't know if you heard, but if we were inclined to look favorably on this request, they've agreed that not otherwise ever be fully enclosed, because we want to keep it open if it's there.
Well, I think the fire codes in Nassau County, and probably in the state, third floor has to be sprinkled.
Right, but that's why she said it's
That's
a
why it's not a
third floor,
third
but
floor.
not a story for sprinkling.
Because I'm sure you're well aware what happened in Long Beach, the ground floor was never supposed to be enclosed, and now it's enclosed.
Well, with all due respect, you're a neighbor, and if there's an attempt to enclose it, especially in light of the fact that you're here today, you and the other neighbors will bring that to the attention of the building department or this board.
And the,
Again, people fail to realize that we don't have the ability to check every house in the town every day. And that's why, in many instances, we rely on the neighbors. If somebody's going to violate one of the variances that we grant, should we grant this, we would expect that somebody in the neighborhood would come in and tell us about it.
and the
I mean,
condition is
it's-
a permanent one if we grant it and impose it.
Runs with the land, and it can never be enclosed. All right?
I've
But
been
in,
in the fire department down there over 50 years.
right.
I was the Nassau County Fire Commissioner, so that exists, and that makes bad name. If I blow the whistle, say they're enclosing this, and it's not 32 feet off the ridgepole to the center of the street, center of the
You
street.
want the elevation of the street?
The height for this would be measured from design flood elevation
DFE.
because it's a FEMA
But
compliance.
the grade appears to be, it says the grade is negative 3 feet 4 inches. I don't think that's right.
The,
Because the DFE is a foot or two higher, 2 feet above BFE, and all that stuff is at 11, so I don't see how the grade can be at negative 3.
So the grade is 7 foot 9 inches
That's
above sea level. So the NAVD 88.
What's
for
the 3-4 then that's right?
That is difference from first floor. So that's just showing that's negative 3 feet off the first floor. So there's 2 elevation dimensions. One is the first floor is 0, and then the second is where it is relative to sea level.
Yeah, we deal in elevations, which is sea level relative.
Okay.
Because otherwise people put things on here that, so we keep it consistent.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're both on there. It might be a little confusing, but both dimensions are there.
Yeah,
in the
especially
elevation.
the way it's.
Both heights. So the grade is, so right now the grade is 7 foot 9 above sea level, and the proposed top
11 is that DFE.
Yeah, the 11 is the DFE, and then the new roof deck, top of that is proposed to be 30 feet. So
The top of the deck, do you mean the floor of the deck or
The
the
floor
top
of
of
the
those
deck.
other, or do you mean the top of the two?
oh, the top of those two
Bulkheads.
are 40 feet above sea level to the top of the bulkhead.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to go 41 and change, because you're going from the DFE and you get 30 from there.
Exactly.
But either way, it looks like the grade is 7 and change.
Yeah.
I mean, the crown, pardon.
All right.
By the way, sir, with regard to your comment about not wanting to blow the whistle, one would think that if that third floor were ever enclosed, the neighbors should think about the consequences of not blowing the whistle. God forbid there is a fire and there's death as a result of that being enclosed and not being sprinklered. So I would suggest that the neighbors consider the alternative if you don't blow the whistle.
Well, I can say my family's been here since the 20s. There was an outstanding rule that they tried to pass, that the sewer line would be placed between properties' backyards. So when in fact they did get sewers in there, they wouldn't have to dig up the street.
Well,
You know just as well as I do, that never happens.
that never
Yeah.
happened.
But we do want to tell you thank you for all of your service. Just speak loudly.
I'm sorry to start, but I'm just wondering, is there any way to reduce the size of that back portion where the staircase is going to go on top of that existing?
I think, you know, the architect,
It's just so close to my
I
house.
think the architect and the applicant are making themselves available after this meeting. You can discuss that with them
Okay, so you
outside,
don't need to be part of that, okay.
okay?
All right, thank you.
Anything else?
There's no one else here to speak on this case,
No.
right?
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
I'll move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Everyone who signed in will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered. You guys will
Second.
go out and,
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I just need you to make sure that you do two things before you leave. You can speak to them first. You need to provide with the percentage, you said you
Right.
talked about 11,
Of the deck.
because that's relevant.
The deck, yeah, we need that.
Also, the proposed new location of those AC units,
And the height.
And the height off the ground.
so
Okay.
that when we deliberate, we have the current set of facts.
Okay.
to determine what-
I have a blank copy of the plot plan. Can I mark that up
Sure.
for you and submit that?
Well, wait, maybe we should, maybe I should have you write it on the official one, this is stuff, otherwise, well, but then we'll have a different one from the time. Okay, yeah, here. We need that back, because that's our official exhibit that we deliberate on. Make sure you initial and date any changes, but can you do that after you speak with the folks out there, and then you'll just bring it in?
Bring
to
it in.
council?
Sounds good. I'll make sure before I
Okay,
leave.
so everyone's free to go,
Okay,
and you just bring that back when you're done.
great. Thank you.
Thank you. Need a case.
Next, we have case 34525 Levittown, Daniel Lofty and Jacqueline Aid. Variances, side yards aggregate, maintain second-story addition, garage, porch, and breezeway converted to living space, and roof over patio, all attached dwelling, interior alterations in excess of 50%, new CO required, also known as 7 Club Lane.
Michael Palumba, architect, 80 Elizabeth Drive, Bethpage, New York, 11714. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Good
I'm here
afternoon.
On behalf of Daniel Lotfi and Jacqueline Ayad of 7 Club Lane, Levittown, New York. We are requesting a variance to maintain an existing second-story addition, garage conversion to habitable space, enclosed porch and breezeway converted to living space, which is located in LPRD resident zone and does not have the minimum required side yard setback of 5 feet or aggregate side yards of 15 feet, maintaining a side yard setback of 4.4 feet.
What
an
was
aggregate
that,
side
4.4?
4.4 feet and an aggregate side yard of 12.5 feet. The second-story addition above the garage was constructed in 1985. This property was purchased in February of 2024.
Hold it a second.
Kim? Yep. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think we're in a little better position.
Let's go.
Loudly and slowly.
I got it.
Have everything? Okay.
Yep.
What time is it?
The second-story addition above the garage was constructed in 1985. This property was purchased in February of 2024 by a builder who updated the existing conditions of the dwelling and removed the existing stairs that were constructed to the second floor.
It's a maintained, so somebody built it without a permit,
In 1985, yes.
and your client purchased the house when?
2/24.
The builder purchased that property in February of 2024.
Knowingly that there was no permit.
He purchased it as is.
But you said the second story was 1985, not 95, or
1985, when the original permits were issued, they constructed the addition above the garage with the permits that were issued in 1985.
and why don't those cover that now?
Haven't never signed
Because,
off?
well, when we filed the application, there are open permits on the original breezeway and the garage conversion. The building department had us included with our application and just cover it all in under one application.
But you had a permit to put on that prior owner had a permit to put that story on, and what, just never closed it out?
The prior permits were issued for the breezeway, the garage conversion to habitable space, and the porch. The garage addition was added by
Okay,
previous
so
owner.
why aren't those before us again?
I'm sorry?
If they got a permit for them before, either with a variance or as of right, why are they back before us? The portions that already had permits.
That's a question for the building department. They were open permits. When we filed this application, we were filing to maintain the garage addition, or the addition above the garage.
Effectively closing out those open permits.
Right.
Right.
That was
They were
different.
open permits, so what they did, what we had to do is we included with our application, that work, those open permits are included with our application under one application to simplify it.
But they don't need variance.
Okay, but which
With
of
this
these,
application.
I'm sorry,
That's right.
which of the items on this list were not the subject of a prior permit?
Which of the applications trigger variances? Because
The
it
second
might appear that that the side yard and side yard aggregate,
The second,
maintaining the second-story addition appears to be closing out an open permit.
no, the second-story addition above the garage.
Okay, hold on. Second story addition, and it just says addition comma garage, so that's the one you're referring to.
Excuse me, they were not building permits, they were applications that were left dormant and objections.
Okay.
Oh, so they didn't have permits.
Okay.
Correct.
That
Okay.
clears it right up.
That's-
So none of
that's
these
clear.
were previously the subject of a permit,
To
so
clarify-
they've never
right,
been
to-
passed on.
To clarify, the addition above the garage had no permit.
None of it did, according to Ms. First.
No, the breezeway, the garage conversion, a second-story addition in the back second floor of the house, metal sheds, and a mother-daughter had open applications or open permits.
Well, they're two different.
Well, they're different things,
See,
applications
if you had a
and
prior permit,
permits.
yeah, they
All
would
right,
have
all
been
right, but
passed on by
let's
the
not
building
beat a
department.
dead horse.
Well,
He's here now.
no, but-
Let's address this.
Okay, so none of them had permits before.
Okay. As I mentioned, the property was purchased in February of 2024 by a builder who updated the existing conditions of the dwelling and removed the existing stairs that were constructed to the second floor.
Again,
He also
we have to
filed
approve what's
applications to
before us
legalize
now.
the existing conditions with the building department, which is also working on closing out several open permits, as we just went over. There were also open permits for a second kitchen, for use as a parent-child, a metal shed, and an above-ground pool, which have all been removed. He has since sold the property to the current owners, and my client, who's sitting with me right here, purchased the property in September of 2024. And they are simply seeking to secure the necessary permits and COs for these structures and the remaining open permits. There's money being held in escrow. Photos of the property have been submitted to the board. I also have 2 consent letters from the property owners directly east and west of the subject premises to submit to you. And that completes my application.
Okay, you said that there was a second kitchen and that's since been removed, is that right?
That's been removed, yes.
Was that part of a prior mother-daughter/immediate family? Or just was putting it out the benefit of a permit?
There was a, there was a prior application for a mother-daughter.
Okay, but I don't see a permit.
No, there was a prior application.
Hold on, hold on. I don't see a permit for the removal of the other kitchen.
That could be included with our application that we have before the board.
No, there would have been an application to remove the kitchen.
I understand. There was no application to remove the kitchen. We came in with the existing conditions. When I measured this property, there was no second kitchen, so that kitchen was removed
Okay.
prior to the builder
So
even owning
you-
this.
You've been in the house?
Yes.
Is there a basement?
No, slab on grade.
Okay, so you've gone on all the floors and there's no other kitchen?
No kitchen.
Is the exterior stairs still there? Because it shows on Google Earth.
There were exterior stairs.
Yes.
We advised them to remove them. The builder removed them.
You're up to the second story deck. Your plot plan that you've submitted, and it's last revised 10/24/25, says exterior stairs to be removed, but they're gone.
Yes.
So,
When I field measured the house, the stairs were there. That's why I indicated on my plot
okay.
plan, stairs to be removed.
That's a little different.
I try to represent the property as I see
No,
it.
I
Yes.
understand now.
No, I'm just explaining.
And there's an open permit for a swimming pool, is that,
That's been removed as well.
the pool's been removed?
Yes. There was an existing above-ground pool that's been removed,
The
as well as
sheds,
the metal shed.
sheds are gone too.
I'm sorry?
Are the sheds removed also?
Yes.
Sir, you need a variance for a side yard and side yard aggregate. If you gave the numbers, I apologize, but
That's
we
right.
do need them on the transcript. So if you could give us what's required and what you're providing.
Side yard required is 5 feet, provided is 4.4. Aggregate side yard is required 15 feet. Aggregate side yard provided 12.5 feet.
Is he, wait, Becky, is this, does the regular rule about 15 apply, or is it something different given the size of the space?
The roofed over patio is still there.
The roof over patio is still there.
For what? I'm confused. Second side yard.
In the
second
back,
story.
yeah, in the back
Yeah,
rear.
and your
in the back
client,
rear corner of the house.
and would your client consent to a condition that not be further, that not be enclosed? Okay.
Explain, were you the previous owner ever had a variance request for a second story?
No, I do not. The previous owner had a variance request?
Yes, to maintain a second story or construct it.
Prior to the builder buying this in 2024 now?
Yeah, apparently the building department records indicate that a variance for a second floor was denied, applied for and denied by the board.
That was prior to the builder owning it, prior to my client owning it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Becky had it. She's got everything. I would love to have it.
Did, all of the items that you're mentioning have been removed, was any of that removal done by your client, or was that when he got it?
That was all done by the builder who purchased the house.
This thing sticks.
Because we don't have anything like the second kitchen, usually we would see that the permit was filed, it was removed, and then, just signed off on.
I don't believe there's any document, any record of that.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of
Yeah.
making it difficult to fully appreciate what all is on the premises.
Excuse me, Dawn? Mr. Palumbo, there's a picture that you submitted, and I circled it. Mrs. DeResta is gonna show you that. Is that on your client's property?
That's the second story deck that's on my plans and on the site plan. There were stairs that were attached to that have been removed.
So that's part of the stairs? That was?
There's no stairs.
That was part of the stairs?
That was part, yeah. The
And
stairs were connected to that deck.
structure, that little deck,
Yes,
that's no longer there?
correct.
Thank you. When were these pictures taken, do you know?
Sorry, so the
I took-
structure, can I go?
Yeah,
Go
sure.
ahead.
I took those pictures yesterday prior to the board. I usually take them the week before.
How,
the
why
zoning
does it show the deck and stairs then? This
Where-
thing,
Where are the stairs?
take another look at that. I circled where I'm questioning.
Can I clarify?
You can do anything you want, sure.
Sure. So there was a stair leading to that deck, but the deck's still there. The thing that you circled is existing now.
It's still there, but it's not on here. It's not on your plans. There's a little deck sticking out here. Am I, yeah. Right. Mr. Palumbo, could you come up, approach, please?
Yeah, no,
Yeah, it'd be easier, I think. And your client you come up too if you wish. Wait until he's here. Wait a second. Here's a picture that was taken yesterday. Yes. I don't see that here.
No, you're correct. What I'm saying is the buildings are moved the deck originally.
Stephanie, you can just let the record reflect that the representative and the applicant clarified for the board some seeming discrepancies between the most recent set of drawings related to the second-story deck on the side of the house and some photos taken 2 days ago which show it still be there. Apparently, the intention was that it be removed, and somehow the removal fell through the cracks, so it wasn't included in the drawings because it was not supposed to still be there.
Anything you'd like to add, sir?
No, we'll make the proper revisions and file with the zoning board to update it.
Okay.
And have the application reheard.
Any other questions?
1 second. So you mean you're going to revise the site plan to show the staircase still there, or are you going to take the staircase off?
There's no staircase. We're going to revise the site plan to show the
Wait,
the
but,
second-story deck.
but Mr. Pellegrini said the picture was 2 days ago. Oh, you're going to leave it sticking out there, but take away, okay. All right, so
Revise the
either
site
way,
plan to
what's
show the
actually there
second-story
and what's
deck.
on the drawings will be,
And then we'll update
reconciled.
and verify the aggregate side yard setback.
okay. I have no.
Questions from the board?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Mr. Palumbo, you and your client will both receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Second, all in
We'll
favor?
hold for those materials.
Next, we have case 34725 North Belmore, Alvin and Sai Sai Young. Variances, lot area occupied, rear yard, construct, two-story addition and cellar entrance, both attached to dwelling, also known as 2819 Pacific Street.
Cellar entrances.
Good afternoon, distinguished board. My name is Michael Degnan. I'm a registered architect and principal at Long Island Architecture Studio, located at 1943 Wantaw Avenue in Wantaw, New York.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. I am representing our clients Alvin and Say Young, who have owned and reside at the subject property for over 10 years. 2819 Pacific Street in Belmore. We're in Residence Zone B. They have two young boys that are attending the public schools there,
and they're looking to enlarge their house for comfort and growth of their family, and also for future room for potential parents should they need to stay on the first floor. The subject is a corner property, and our request this morning is for lot coverage and rear yard setback. Before I review the details, I would like to present 5 letters signed by neighbors acknowledging that they have no objections or are in favor of the proposed additions.
We'll accept those in evidence.
Importantly, 3 of those letters are from adjacent properties or properties directly across the street, so those most affected. A little bit of history on the property. This property was subdivided in 1973 with a variance for the rear yard for the subject property. Our proposal is to renovate the first floor and provide a second floor addition. The second floor addition, as it relates to the rear yard setbacks, we're not decreasing the rear yard property line. So the house is being built directly over the existing house.
So no portion of the first floor addition that you referenced is before us, that's all as of right?
Correct.
Okay, so what is the existing rear yard then, and what do you propose?
So the existing and the proposed rear yard setback, if you see the plot plan, it's like an L jaggered. So on one side, on the west side, it's 7.45 is the rear yard setback, and on the eastern side of the property, the rear yard setback is 8.7 feet.
And you propose to keep them the same?
Yes, both those are staying the same.
Is there a pool on the property?
There's no pool on the property, no. There's there's nothing other than the home and the attached garage. There was a gazebo, but it was removed.
The Google Earth shows a swimming pool, but
That's it,
if it's, but that's a trampoline?
Yeah, it could be a trampoline too. We've been to the site and we had to remove anything that was there has been removed for the
Have you
benefit of.
been inside of the house
Yes,
on all 3 levels?
yes.
Okay, what's in the basement?
Absolutely unfinished basement. It's all concrete and steel and wood.
Okay. Is there any attic space here or not?
Well, in our proposed second floor addition, there will be some attic space, but it's not habitable. With the collar ties, it's probably going to be 4.5 feet above the slab of the finished floor of the attic.
And the lot area occupied won't be changing with this, or will?
The lot area occupied will be changing. That's also part of our.
From what to what?
What's changing it?
Well, we're doing an addition on the right-hand side of the house towards White Street.
Well, what is the lot area occupied? Because
Yeah,
lot area occupied is before us, but the first floor isn't, so.
Okay, so I'll review the lot request. So the permitted lot coverage, as you know, in Zone B is 27.5%, based on the lot size of 6,478 square feet. The allowable coverage is 1,781 square feet.
Just 2 percentages.
I'm sorry?
If you just do percentage. Like
You got it. 34.3% is the proposed lot coverage.
And what is the current lot coverage? Because I'm not understanding why you're increasing lot coverage on a first story, and that first story's not before us. For the lot coverage.
The existing lot coverage is 24.3%.
What is it again? I'm sorry.
24.3.
10%.
Because the additions that we're not encroaching beyond the existing property line or beyond the existing setbacks.
1 second.
And we're also doing a front porch, which is increasing.
1 second.
That's the front.
Second story addition. So this roof goes all attached to everything I can maintain. The thing, Ms. First is gonna check. Everything that I have on the calendar today for you, for your application,
Right.
is all maintained stuff. So that would mean that whatever your current lot coverage is, it would be your proposal also. And I have, all these I'll just tell you, I have variances, lot area occupied, side yard, aggregate, rear yard, maintain addition,
second story, maintain
Wait,
second
wait,
story
wait,
addition.
no, that case was adjourned. You're looking at the wrong case.
We're at 20,
We're in North Belmore, 347.
My apologies. I was out of the room. Thank you. Yeah, look at me. He's like, oh, thank God. Got it. Go ahead. Becky.
So in terms of the technical and numbers, I feel like if you have any specific questions, yeah, I do want to say that
Yeah.
if necessary, I mean, maybe not necessary. I was going to talk a little bit about the client and the house and the design and the, the general improvement, how we feel it's in keeping with the neighborhood.
Yeah, just give us the other numbers. You didn't give us side yard, exit. Or do you have?
It's a corner lot. So,
Okay, I got it.
yep. So we're good on the two front yards
You're
and
good
we're good
on
on the side
yeah.
yard. It's the rear yard.
Yep. Well, that's the issue.
I'm sorry, did you
Yep.
say why you're proposing a cellar entrance? Because you said there's nothing really down there.
Yeah, there's an existing cellar entrance that was constructed soon after the time of that the house was built. An existing cellar entrance is about approximately 50 years old based on my estimate, and it's dilapidated, it's breaking, it's allowing water to come in. So as part of our proposal, we wanted to legalize that the existing steps, but improve it at the same time. Right, because it's a construct, because we do want to remove that existing staircase and build it with something that's newer and meets current code. Well, they do have, and I had this conversation with the clients, and they're here today and last night, because they do have two young boys that are very active in sports and with friends, and their interest is to use the basement, as you would imagine, as a mudroom, as a place to go down there and dump their stuff and clean up. They may have intentions to finish the basement in the future, but they absolutely understand that the boards and the town of Hempstead sensitivities towards illegal apartments or other. They've assured me that and if you see the quality of the house that they're building, they have no desire or need to present an apartment in the basement. Yeah, I mean, typical to our, when folks hire us, they are interested in, quality design that fits within the community, and we use materials and finishes and design elements that are lower pitched roofs, things that are very gentle, very, we have a base, a middle, and a matching top, and we feel that the home is consistent with other brand new homes that are being constructed or even renovated. Like mentioned earlier, we have the consent of 5 neighbors, and the property value and the neighboring property values are going to surely be increased by this new home, relatively new home. That's a no, sir.
Any other questions from the
Yes, sir.
board?
Your photographs indicate there's a fence on the property.
Okay, I see it.
It's not on your plot plan.
Okay.
So if the board decides favorably on your application, one of the conditions is going to be that you file an application to legalize that fence.
Understood.
Good. No questions, sir.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move that the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on decision calendar. Mr., how do I say it, Dugnan?
Degnan?
Degnan?
Yeah.
To be notified by mail of the board's decision once it's read.
Thank you.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Opposed? Rear yard.
Next, we have case 34825, North Belmore, Sachin and Dana Devidan. Variance rear yard, construct two-story and one-story additions attached dwelling, also known as 2781 Columbus Avenue.
Do you notice? Do you notice?
Hi, my name is Dana Devidan at 2781 Columbus Avenue, North Belmore, 11710.
I'm Sachin Devidan, 2781 Columbus Avenue, North Belmore. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Correct,
Yes.
yes, correct. So we're proposing to do a 25-foot extension to the right of our house, and we were told by the architect that we couldn't do it because they're saying it's the rear of our house. So
We have a corner property. Right. Yeah. Yes. Correct.
So we're proposing to do a garage space, an extended garage space on the first floor. It'll be just empty, just to park cars. And on the second floor, it'll be an extra bedroom and another spare room.
Correct. Correct. Correct.
I'm confused, sorry. So,
Okay. No, it'll remain a two-story.
correct. It'll be an additional room, yes. It'll just be an empty space for cars to park.
Additional garage
A garage space.
Yes.
So you'll be able to park how many cars in the garages on the first floor?
3.
Yeah, so you're not converting the existing garage to living space?
No.
Because we have several, how many cars do you have?
We have 4. I have 3 vintage cars and 1 daily driven car.
Because we've got a couple of letters in opposition, and the statements are, you have so many vehicles that are parked on both sides of the road, so where do you park your vintage cars?
But right now, I have a 1-car garage, so I have 1 car in there, and the rest of the cars are parked on the street.
Okay, so this will help alleviate that.
That's
This will help
trying
that.
to alleviate the
Okay.
neighborhood looking like there's cars all over the place.
What are the cars, if I may?
I have a 64 Impala, a 1940 Buick, and I have a 87 Monte Carlo.
So the rear yard request that you have, it looks like you're maintaining 20, if I'm looking at the right number, it looks like
Say,
25 foot, which would be, which mean you don't need a variance, so that can't be right.
Yeah. And
What did the building department determine was your proposed rear yard setback?
They told us that
The other side.
we have to stay 15 foot away from the neighboring fence.
I know their proposed rear yard setback is 6 feet.
Okay, so they did the other way.
Well, no, that's
I
the
see
side
the
that,
six.
that's the largest side.
Say that again?
That is the compliant side, that's why it's the rear yard. It has 25 feet or more. The other side, which we are considering the side yard, only has 22 feet, which,
No, we have rear yard on this.
right, I'm telling you what's actually there.
But wait, what
The
I'm trying to
existing
ask,
structure without the construction has a side yard setback of 22 feet and a rear yard setback of 31 feet. They are proposing a structure that's 25 feet long, which will create the rear yard having a 6-foot setback.
right, so I'm just saying, they're considering the rear yard what they probably consider their side yard. So it's a 6 versus the 15 on the first.
And may I add, we're looking to add to our family, so that extra bedroom will be really handy with our current 2 kids having another.
Understood.
Any other questions from the board? If not, do I have a motion?
Move the hearing be closed, the matter be placed on the decision calendar. You'll receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you, have a nice day.
Next, we have case 34925, Wantaw, Rhonda Darby. Variance side yard, maintain 2 AC units, attached dwelling, also known as 3615 Franklin Street.
We haven't seen you in a while.
You were here last, 2 weeks ago. Take this case, I gotta go.
Oh, boy, I thought I was last, I was gonna say good morning, but it's good afternoon. Mr. Chair, who just stepped out, and members of the board. I should continue, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. My name is Maria J. Miro from Maria J. Miro Design and Drafting, located at 1002 Merrick Avenue, North Merrick, New York, 11566. I am here today to represent Rhonda Darby. She is the homeowner of 36 Franklin Street in Wantaw, New York, Section 57, Block 087, lots 0050 to 00510. We are respectfully asking the board today to grant us relief and allow an AC compressor to remain in the easterly side yard of the residence. The compressor application number is 25-381. The property is located in a residential B zone. The property size is only 40 feet wide by 100 deep. The existing side yard at this side of the property is 5.9 feet in the front and 6.2 in the rear. The allowable side yard setback from the property line to the AC compressor is 4 feet. The existing yard setback from the property line to the compressor is 3.3 feet. It's 0.7 or 9 inches over the allowable side yard. This present side yard aggregate is 15.8. If the compressor is considered part of the side yard aggregate, it is 12.5 feet.
But you're not here for aggregate, you're only here for side yard,
Side yard, correct.
apparently.
I'd like to note that the compressor was installed with building permit number 2004 13481. That open building permit was to reconstruct an existing one-family dwelling in excess of 50%. I was hired by Mrs. Darby to to legalize the shed. And when I went to legalize the shed, we found out that we had this open building permit. Now, I have a few things to show you. I have the survey that was prepared from John Ferrantello from 2005. That was the final survey. And that shows that the AC unit was on the property at that time.
So you think it was part of that
It was,
permit?
it had to be because not only is it on the final survey, I also have the electrical certificate, and I highlighted where it says air condition and air handler on the electric certificate.
We'll accept those
Anyway,
into evidence.
I don't know.
So what ended up that that you had to come back for it? Because it needs
Well, when
different
what
location?
happened when I went to file for the shed permit, let me give you that one.
We'll accept that into evidence also.
The shed is 22-4965.
Okay.
I think it's 25-4965, that doesn't sound right, because I just recently did it.
Okay.
But, I have a survey, okay, and I showed you the fire underwriter's certificate. So, when I went to close out the building permit, for the 2004, there was a shed on the property. I legalized the shed. I have a valid permit for the shed. And then I was told by the building department with the final survey to get a permit for the AC compressor. I kind of challenged it a little bit because I pulled all those records, but they said I had to file for the AC compressor. So I did. And we're in the side yard, and now I'm before everybody.
Okay. But you only need, what'd you say, .7?
It's like 9 inches, right?
1.9.
Is it 1.9?
It's 1 foot 9 inches.
I stand corrected, 1.9.
Okay, is there anything else you wish to add?
I mean, Mrs. Darby, she's very close to the neighbors. I mean, if the board needed, she's away, so I couldn't get it, but I could get a notarized letter from the adjacent property owner that he has no objection to it. And basically, she wants to put the house on the market, and she can't with the open permit from
Understood.
2004.
Understood.
That's over 50% construction. We need a CO
Okay.
before we can
And
list
is there
it.
anything else you wish to add?
No, I'm good.
Any other questions from the board? If not, is there a motion?
I move the hearing be closed, the case placed on a decision calendar. When the board renders its decision, you will be notified.
Thank
you.
All in
Good to
favor?
see everyone.
Thanks, have a nice day.
Yes, ma'am. Flip to that end.
Next, we have case 16025, Merrick, Jody Resnick Torado, and Joseph Torado. Use variance, lot area occupied, rear yard height, maintained two-car detached garage with an attic used for storage, also known as 141 Smith Street.
Jody Resnick Torado, 141 Smith Street, Merrick, New York, 11566.
That's Joseph Torado, also at 141 Smith Street, Merrick, New York.
Michelle Cozzolino, 312 Ellington Avenue, Garden City, New York, 11530. Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Michelle, agent for the property owners Jody and Joe Torado. Subject property is located at 141 Smith Street in Merrick. It's the southeast corner of Smith Street and Washington Street in a residential B zone. Mr. and Mrs. Torado are looking to maintain the existing garage that was originally constructed back in 1938 and non-conforming structures such as their home. The existing dwelling is currently 1,309.16 square feet, with the garage being at 454.55 square feet, with a total of 1,763.71 square feet, 31.1% lot coverage, where 27.5% is allowed.
Did you say the garage was constructed in?
It was originally constructed in 1938. It was part of a non-conforming. The house was also built. It was reconstructed.
The garage was reconstructed?
The garage was reconstructed. What year, nobody really
Okay,
can
but
determine. There's no documents of that.
It was reconstructed different than what was constructed?
It was expanded than in the original, yes.
Can you go over again the lot area occupied you're proposing?
Sure.
Just a number.
The existing square footage of the house is 1309.16. Oh, sorry.
Percentages.
Oh, you just want the percentage? So it's 31.1%, where 27.5% is allowed.
And is that what it currently is also? 'Cause there's
That
no
is the
change.
current square footage, lot coverage.
Okay, go ahead.
The location of the garage has not changed. The garage itself was expanded at some point closer to the dwelling within the years by one of its previous owners. The rear yard is currently 1.38 feet, where 2 feet is required. The use variance that we're also requesting is to maintain the attic storage area of the garage as it is for the family use to store their belongings. The maximum height allowed of the garage is typically 12 feet in a residential B zone. The existing overall height of the structure is 15 feet 9 inches. On the packet of pictures I just submitted as evidence, on page 5, you see the photographs of the neighboring property as well, which was also built at the same exact time, that has the original garage that the Tirados also once had at one point. And you can actually see the difference in height, where that height was actually at the 18-foot overall. The dwelling is a single-family dwelling with 2 bedrooms, a converted attic space into a playroom for the 2 kids. The Tirados have purchased the house, have purchased this as their first home during the COVID-19 pandemic shutdown, and inherited a number of problems. The attorney had failed to notify them of the additional permits that were required in order to close out their house properly, which they have completed all the additional permits for all the accessory structures, so the AC units, the fencing, the internal of the house, the dwelling itself, the non-conforming has been applied for, gotten. So this is the last pending permit that we have on file to close out.
So hold on, you said, so 12 average is allowable, and I thought you said there are 15.9 average, right?
No,
So-
the maximum height for a garage is 12 feet. Their overall height to the ridge is 15.9.
Even on your own form, it says structure height, 12-foot average height allowed.
Correct, it's a 12-foot average height allowed on the garage.
Oh, okay, so what's the average you propose?
We have 13
I'm not sure
foot 4
That's
is the
why
average.
I was asking, because I see it says
Correct, because I know
13.
it's a different,
Okay, so
different roof line on this one.
you're actually proposing 13.4
Correct,
average.
as compared to 12. Yes.
That's the
15.9 is the overall height of the actual structure to the ridge. Okay, I'm just stating what we know. But the pictures alongside can also show you one of the neighboring other properties, directly to the side of them. There's a neighbor that has the original garage that was built with the non-conforming structure of their home as well. You can see that the height, there's a big height difference between what my clients have and what they have. There's also another house that's located at 108 Commonwealth, which is also on the block of Washington Street. Yep. I can show you if you'd like. Okay. There's a garage that's covered in cedar shake. And there's a garage, that would be 137 Smith Street. 108 Commonwealth is the one that is facing Washington and Commonwealth. Correct, south. Correct. You can see that the houses were built in the same, they have the same character, they were built together. They have their original garage that's way above, and we can all see the peak heights of that as well. The house and property are well maintained, and they're part of the character and nature of the the neighborhood, and that pretty much concludes my case. Alteration occurred to the existing, correct. There's no definitive way to find out. I know that it was done by the previous owner, that we are aware of, because they did not do it. Correct. June of 21 they closed. No. They purchased it as is, and they just inherited everything practically. The additional use for storage over the garage area is simply because their home is not of particular size, and Christmas decor. There's a shop vac in there.
Our son's baby clothes, yeah.
Life for the last 10 years, anything you'd want to find that you didn't like.
time being?
That concludes my case for time.
We have some people who are here in opposition, who signed in opposition. Would you like to speak? Please come up.
My name is Thomas Grizel. I live at 64 Washington Street, Merrick, New York, 11566.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think my first question, if it's appropriate, we already held a hearing on this about 9 or 10 weeks ago in April, and we voiced our opposition then, and I actually submitted photographs showing the effect of this structure so close to our home. And I'm just wondering, is that part of the record, or is that?
Our own to consolidate the record to include that with this.
All right. And at the time, you told us that a decision would be made and we'd be notified? But
Yes,
then
we
the
haven't
next-
made a decision yet because it had to be restored for an additional hearing because there was remember at that time, the concern should it also have been rejected as too high and need a height variance? So it was sent back to the building department to reevaluate, and the building department decided, I think it was the height variance, that the building department decided that it mistakenly failed to reject the height as non-compliant with the ordinance. So we had to come back and hear the height portion of the case before we decide.
So the height is now also in question? It's not just the proximity to our property?
Correct.
Correct.
The height is in fact greater than 12-foot average.
All right, it certainly seemed to me like it was all along. I was surprised to hear in the earlier hearing that the claim was that it wasn't. Okay, I wanted to know about the photos that I submitted the last time. It shows that this structure just completely obliterates our view outside our northbound windows on the first floor. And also, a couple of things. To call this a remodeling of a structure that was built in 1938 is ridiculous. It was totally demolished and it was completely rebuilt, and that was approximately 12 years ago since we were living there. I can't be sure if it was 10, 11, 12, 13 years ago, but I know for a fact it was 10, 11, 12, something in that ballpark.
Okay, and she said, I don't think there's any dispute that it is in the location it used to be, but it's been enlarged.
It's a totally new structure.
Okay.
Yeah. And I also want to point out this thing that the attorney pointed out last time and this time as well, that the first attorney who represented the Torontos when they purchased the home failed to notify them of these outstanding issues with this home. You know, it seems to me if that truly were the case, then this should be litigated in civil court, and they should be looking for damages against that attorney.
You may be
Because this
right,
would
but
think
that's,
this-
with all due respect, sir, you may be right, but that's nothing that we can resolve here. This is not a court of law, and that's up to them to do.
But it seems like the alternative is to be in front of us and forcing us to come back here a second time to go through this again, when they just seem to be looking for like a get-out-of-jail-free card.
I'm sorry, I wish we would have been able to let you know that we're incorporating the minutes from the prior, so you didn't have to come back, so our apologies.
But just, well, I mean, unless you don't want me to say this, I mean, quickly, but, you know, the definition of negligent lawyering would be the lawyer had a duty to provide competent representation.
All right, you're going far afield of
then I
what we're going to
apologize.
hear.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
All right?
I just wanted to say that. And then the last point, and I also made this point at the first hearing. The prior owner who built that barn told me at the time that, as the sale was going through, that the Torontos were fully aware that this thing did not meet code, and they used that as leverage to negotiate a lower price. So I really take exception to this idea that they didn't know and shifting the blame to to some unnamed attorney.
It doesn't matter that much for our purposes anyway, to be perfectly honest. If they said, yeah, we knew, but we thought it was no big deal, it wouldn't change the way we treat it.
Understood. But it does impact us greatly. It has all along. We are the injured party in this. It affects, like I said, our view out the window, and there's very little doubt in my mind that it's going to affect our value of our home when we're ready to sell. And I also, just one last thing, and I know you've been very patient with me. When we talk about how close it is to the property line, does that even take into consideration the approximately 9 inches that the roof overhangs? The roof is actually 9 inches even closer to our property line.
Becky, the soffit, the overhang, that does where we measure.
You're measuring to the foundation, it's permitted an encroachment of 2 feet
For the overhang, okay.
So the fact that it's approximately 9 inches closer to our property,
Apparently, the code envisions at least something 2 feet or less
Says
as
2
an
feet or
overhang.
less.
in addition to where, so
Yeah,
that could,
they figure that wherever the foundation is, there'll be from 0 to 2 feet in between that will have an overhang.
well, I guess that would also depend which side the pitch of the roof is on. If the pitch of the roof were the other side, then the overhang would be on their property, not on mine.
It envisions a 2-foot overhang or 2 foot or less. Let me ask you, so you know when the original garage was enlarged?
I remember when the original garage was demolished and the new one was built, yes.
Okay, and at that time, no one in the neighborhood said anything or called the building department or anything, huh?
Well, first of all, I mean, I was asked that question the first time, and
That's right.
that's a
And you
legitimate
answered.
question, obviously. I was working long days in Queens and Manhattan, and our understanding was that Nassau County is really a stickler, rigid as far as building codes, and we just foolishly assumed that, well, they must have jumped through all the hoops and gotten the appropriate codes, and there was nothing we could do about it.
Right. My recollection was that was the answer you gave the last time.
And, fine, I take some responsibility for being trusting, but I was.
No, you don't take
Okay,
responsibility.
okay.
Just
All right,
think you out of-
I don't think that's to be. All right. Do we have are you finished, sir?
Yes, sir,
Okay.
thank you.
Would you like to speak, ma'am?
My name's Alexandra Music, 64 Washington Street. I just want to say that it's, the structure's too large for the space, too tall, and it should never have been built.
But it was.
Life is a learning experience, now we know. Somebody does something, we'll report it, But that's the whole thing. So, I feel sorry for our neighbors that they got themselves into this. But it's, as my husband said, we're really the victims because we're the ones that have to live with this monstrosity next to us. So that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else you'd like to add?
I believe my clients want to speak.
Go right ahead.
Thank you.
I think in reference to the adjacent structures, the garage directly next to ours being just as high, actually even higher, as you can see in the pictures, and
Would you like to offer those in evidence?
we have,
Just a minute. Could you show them to the people who appeared in opposition? And who took the photos, sir?
Took them 48 hours ago with Elaine's permission.
And,
He's next door, 137.
and they fairly and accurately represent what they purport to? Okay. Then we'll accept them in evidence, unless there is some objection from the neighbors.
Their garage next to their property. I'm sorry?
Name and address.
Oh, Alexandra Music, 64 Washington Street.
Merrick.
The garage next to their property is very large also inappropriately large, but it's not right next to their house. Their garage is right next to our house and blocks our view. So that would be the only thing I would say is really not evident in these pictures.
Somebody's got to go and inspect.
It's not blocking anybody's view. Their garage is blocking our
Okay.
view in our windows. So, I don't know, is there anything else? I don't want to sit down if there's going to be more pictures.
No. Okay.
I mean, is it is it really a defense to say there are more egregious examples of a high roof, so therefore our too high roof should be, excused?
No, but it may go to them not realizing it was not allowable there.
But also, the garage of the picture they're showing is a pitched roof, so you can see up the side. You're talking about something which is basically a vertical barricade that goes just about straight up and down. Something with an angle you can see over the
Okay,
top.
all right.
This garage that the previous owners had built was more of a triangle shape. It wouldn't have been
All right.
so
All
in
right.
our face.
We get it, we see it now.
You can see it.
I'd like to, did you want to finish saying something?
Yeah, just along those, along that same frame of thought is that, the adjacent structures the adjacent structure and the structure down the block are just as large and have similarly high roofs. And, it's up to us as the, homeowners to understand that everyone in the town has something that may not exactly be up to code or permitted or have all the COs closed. So it's not fair to say that since we've bought the house, we've been trying to correct all the mistakes that were made by the previous owners by applying for the necessary permits and closing out any of the COs to try to get where we want to be law-abiding citizens before the board and before Nassau County as well. I just wanted to make a note of that.
I would like to say we are very aware of, I'll use the word bamboozled by our lawyer, and what we're going to do with ourselves with that. We have sought many other people for compensation to see if it would be worth the money. I don't have to justify this, but I'd like to make it clear, the money that we would have to pay another lawyer to sue him, it wouldn't even be worth it. No other lawyers said it's not worth it. We understand, we come from Brooklyn, we're first-time homeowners, our parents had nothing, we bought a house. We're trying to do this for our child. I spent $30,000 getting this house legalized. Everything from my son that I did not have. And they're gonna tell me that Sweetie sold them this house and I'm gonna say this, God help me. There's a Caucasian woman in 137. Sweetie was a Caucasian man. The guy is a Caucasian man. Me and my husband were okay with the minority child, and we are the bad people for wanting to do better? I am sorry. I'm emotional. I spent $30,000 legalizing this house. I got so screwed. I have nothing left. I don't understand. I did not. We came in and we built this. If we built this, then I take full responsibility. Mrs. Gorski, 90 years old, was going to come here today in her walker and start yelling on our behalf that how could this be done to us? It was a transient house for 10 years, in and out, in and out, in and out tenants. We put roots here. We gutted our home, everything. We've wasted our whole life savings. So our son does not have to live the life that we lived. I'm sorry that was built not to code. I had no idea. Do you think I wanted my lawyer to do this to me? Not at all. Do you know that we know things that we are not reporting because we understand what it's like to be done this to? We could sit here and tell you to move back their hedges, they're blocking our views, we had to move back. Their tree is over our house that they do not have permits for their own garage, standing here without a permit for their own garage and talking about a monstrosity? You know what the monstrosity is? That all I was trying to do was make a better life here. I'm sorry, I know you're not a court. I'm just trying to explain that this is crazy to me. I have done with Michelle for 4 years, and I feel like we're being racially profiled. I'm saying it because you have white people, Caucasian, whatever the white word is, and here comes my husband and me, right? And we don't fit, and he doesn't fit, and neither does my son, and everybody else looks alike. And lo and behold, at 136, a new family moved in, minority, and somebody called in on their brand new fence. The woman that lived there for 30 years, 50 years, 60 years, nobody said a word. All of a sudden, another new family moves in and someone gets called on them. I'm sorry. I know they were told me not to do this, but I am just trying to live the best life. We have no fights with them. We don't argue with them. We don't have parties. We don't do things. I am just trying to live in a home, and I am sorry that that structure was too built. Our house is 1,200 square feet. Do you know how small that is? I know you guys know how small that is. So we bought the garage as, wow, because we don't have a playroom, we don't have anything. We could store all his life in that garage. That's all we want to do. You can come in, we're not converting it, we're not getting tenants, we're not doing any of that. It literally has workout equipment and storage. That's all we're saying. I am so sorry, but if they're telling me that they spoke to Sweeney, that means they're in on it, that it was okay when Mr. Sweeney
All right.
owned this home, but the minute that we've got it, it's not.
Right,
Sorry.
thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I did this wrong. I'm sorry.
Anything else you'd like to add?
No, that concludes our case, I believe.
I just want to say, it's not fair of you to say anything. I have nothing
All right,
against you.
folks,
and that's not
folks,
fair.
this is not a debate, all right? I think we've heard all we have to hear. So unless there are any other questions from the board, I'd like to ask for a motion.
Move that the hearing be closed, that the matter be placed on the decision calendar. Everyone who signed in will receive a copy of the board's decision by mail once it's rendered.
Thank you.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I, where's the copy of?
Okay, on second call, case 33125, Uniondale McDonald's Restaurant, renewal of grant to maintain one double-face illuminated ground sign, overall size 100 square feet, overall height 20 feet, also known as 1050 Front Street.
Yep, yeah, and we're going to adjourn them all the same day.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead.
Okay. Also, second call, case 33225, Wanto 7-Eleven Incorporated, number 18991, renewal of grant to maintain setbacks 1 foot from Beach Street and 1 foot from Park Avenue for one double-faced illuminated ground sign, also known as 3382 Park Avenue. Additionally, we have case 33325, Oceanside 7-Eleven Incorporated, number 34227, renewal of grant to maintain one double-face illuminated detached ground sign, setback 5 feet from Long Beach Road and Cortlandt Avenue and within the clear sight triangle, also known as 3274 Long Beach Road. Mr. Chairman, I suggest that we adjourn these cases to August 20th, 2025 at 11 a.m.
Okay,
Do they have to, do they have to sign up for the renewals or no? I know they don't have to renew.
no, they don't. We have one case adjourned to 2 p.m.
Someone bought to get food.
I don't want to do anything. I have to leave. we're going to, somebody make a motion.
I move we adjourn the morning hearing.
Second,
Or we
all in
close it.
favor? Any opposed?